What's up, San Diego, and a happy Friday to everybody out there in America's finest city. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. This is the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We are live and local each and every day from 10 to 2, and we got a lot to talk about today following a Padres off day. Usually that's like the hardest show possible. I usually come on and be like, what did everybody do last night when there's no Padres baseball? I filled in and played softball last night since I missed it on Monday. I filled in for our guy Rick Sloan's team out there. He's one of the umpires out there at the Poway Sportsplex. He has a team on Thursdays, so it was fun to go out there and play a little softball yesterday. I got my softball fix of the week, which was fun. So that was great. We ended up tying 20-20. That's fun. No extra innings out there. You gotta keep the games moving. Keep the games moving. Anyway, we have a lot to talk about with the CBA. And speaking of CBAs, you almost have a college athletics CBA that's been proposed by the government that we're going to talk about in the 1 o'clock hour. We got Padres and Nationals coming up later on this afternoon. Is there on the East Coast? Going to have earlier ball games this weekend. And earlier ball games next week, with a Monday being off. Padres will play the Phillies for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the road. A lot more earlier start times for the next week or so for Padres baseball, and we'll dive into that a little bit. Bud Black was on with Ben and Woods earlier this morning as part of the manager report. He had a lot of things to say about his experience managing an offense as a former pitcher, something that obviously Craig Stammen's doing right now. He gave his thoughts on how he would manage a slumping superstar or how he has done that. And then they talk a little bit about Ethan Salas, which I find interesting. We're going to get to that at 11:30. Bill Shaikin joins the show at 11 to talk some of this labor negotiations and how it appeals to maybe some of the big market teams that are on board with this, as a matter of fact, which is very interesting. Buster Only was on PTI talking about the Padres potentially at the trade deadline and who they are potentially looking out for, or the fact that they might be in on a big superstar arm during the this year's trade spot. We'll talk about San Diego State's football schedule. They released that a couple of days ago. They already had the full schedule out, but some of the dates and times. We'll get you a preview of this weekend series, Padres and Nationals. 3:45 today for the Padres game on a Friday against the Nats. It'll be at 4:05 tomorrow, and then on Sunday it's a 10:35 game in the morning for the 3-game series against Washington, which I'm sure we will talk a lot about every time James Wood and CJ Abrams hit a home run this weekend. I'm sure we'll have the whole, like, we lost the Soto trade comments. I'm just glad that they're playing this series, Frank, on the weekend, so I don't have to listen to it every single day for the next 3 days.
I'll be sure to text you. Don't worry.
Yeah, let me know every single time. Every time Abrams and Wood get out, though, we got to say the same thing. Won the Soto trade. Do we have, I'm looking at the pitching matchups right now. You got Giolito, King, and Canning. Too bad it wasn't King and Vasquez. Every time King strikes out Abrams and Wood, you got to chalk it up as a win for the Padres and the Soto trade. And every time he gives up a hit to those two, you got to chalk it up as a win for the Nationals and the Soto trade. What do you think about that?
That's fair.
All right. I think that's fair.
Let me see.
Are we just going to keep doing this forever? Mackenzie Gore's not part of the equation anymore, so you don't have to worry about him.
Yeah, so you're not losing the trade upwards of 10 times a day.
That's right. So it's slightly different. So we'll see what happens over the weekend.
Washington has still not announced their starters for the weekend. It'll be
Schultz
Yeah,
tonight.
it'll be Schultz tonight, but they have not announced over the weekend.
They can hit. They can't really pitch. That's kind of why they're a couple of games above 500. So hopefully the Padres pitching locks in this weekend against the offense of the Nationals. Let's talk about what the big story in baseball is, though. And that's the CBA negotiations that are starting. And before we really dive into this, because I know a lot of people have their thoughts, and I think a lot of people that are picking a side so far are using too much emotion and not enough logic of what we're trying to accomplish here. As a fan of Major League Baseball, as a fan of the Padres, as I sit here and go through the labor negotiations, here is one thing I do not give a single bleep about. I don't care how much money players or owners make. I don't care. It does not affect my life. It does not affect me. I do not care how much owners make. I do not care how much players make. They can make whatever they want. I don't care. What I do care is I want to see Major League Baseball have a league in which you are not benefiting by being in a bigger market. That's it. It's really that simple. That's what I want to see. I want to see Major League Baseball be like the other leagues in the United States, and you are rewarded for being intelligent. And you are rewarded for drafting well. And you are rewarded for developing your players. And you're rewarded for bringing people into the stadium. And you're rewarded for everything else that teams in these other leagues are rewarded for. That's why you have Kansas City and Buffalo, two places that don't have really any type of professional sports teams, dominate the AFC in the NFL these last decade because of a couple of things. One, everybody has the same resources. And two, they're able to keep the players that they drafted. It's all a puzzle. It's all part of the game. Kansas City and Buffalo in the National Football League should not be punished for the fact that they have less people in their city and they have less gigantic media companies in their city than New York and Los Angeles. And start naming all the other cities. That's what I want as a baseball fan. Is that too much to ask, Frank?
Yes.
Apparently it is. Do not let players or owners dictate or sway your opinion emotionally away from what is better for baseball, and that is everybody being able to play at the same resources and same rules. That's it. You can make that whatever you want. I don't really care. Make the salary cap $1 billion. I don't care. But to sit here and say that you're against the salary cap just because you don't personally like people that are rich is rich to me, because you're defending other people that are rich in the same process. So I have seen a lot of people freak out about the CBA. I have. And I would like to say, before we dive into the exact proposals that both had on anything, it's the first one. It's the first proposal. They're going to start finding common ground and agree to some things, and they're going to negotiate the thresholds that you need, and they're going to negotiate the minimum salaries for these players, and they're going to negotiate all of this. This is the first way through. But the reality is, everybody needs to be able to be at the same threshold. And for people that go like, oh, well, we've had a different champion every year for the last however many years. Yeah, how many of those champions are small market teams? Almost none. The reason why, and this is like another argument people make, is like, well, the NFL has dynasties. The NFL has dynasties because they have competent organizations that know how to use the rules of the game in their favor. It's not because they just outspend everybody. If you're looking at it from that viewpoint of, oh, the NFL has dynasties, yeah, but it's not because Buffalo has more money than everybody else in a massive city. It's the only sport, well, not really the only sport, but with these other leagues with the salary caps and salary floors, you don't have New York and LA dominating the leagues. They actually have to be competent with what they do. They can't just like buy their way out of problems. And that's what this is about. Again, I don't care how much the billionaires and the millionaires make. They're all making more money than all of us will ever see in a lifetime. So I don't know why you would get emotionally connected to how much one side of the aisle makes. And I also don't understand why you can argue for one side to make as much money as they possibly can and the other side can't. You either allow both sides to make as much money as possible, or you cap both of them. There's no argument to be made about why a salary cap is not beneficial for Major League Baseball, aside from I don't like billionaires. That's it. That's really it. I have not seen one thing of substance from anybody arguing against the salary cap that makes any type of logical sense for the enjoyment of the game. Oh, if they have a salary, that's not going to make the prices lower for you guys to go to games. Like the owners are going to, that's not going to make the prices lower. Well, neither is paying Juan Soto $60 million a year. Another failed argument. I get what the players are doing. They want to be able to make as much money as possible. That's fine. But they inherit no risk. There is no risk involved. They can join any league that they want. I think you have to understand the risks of both sides. The owners inherit all the risk of the league. If it fails, they lose all the money. If the league fails, the players can go to other leagues. I know that's oversimplifying things, but that's the reality of any type of labor negotiations between employees and employers. And people that are usually employees just see it from their side, and they don't give a damn about the other side that also has their own risks involved because it's a whole, they make more money, it's not fair. This is life. This is business. This is a business thing. They can join any league they want. They could go play in Mexico. They could play in Japan. They could play in Korea. You saw this in the PGA. What happened when there was another league that started paying a ton of money in golf? What did the players of the PGA decide to do? They decided to go to the league that was paying more money. It's not rocket science. Look, the reason why the players in particular don't like a salary cap is because they are trying to tell everybody that it's going to cap how much they make. But the reality is it just caps what cities they could potentially live in and what their teammates are going to be. That's it. Under a new salary cap or a salary floor, whatever you want to do, you could still pay Shohei Ohtani whatever you want. You could pay him whatever you want. He could get $70 million a year, whatever it is. But he can't be on a team with a bunch of guys like him in terms of the superstar status. And depending on where it shakes out in free agency, he probably doesn't get the pick to live in Los Angeles or New York. Maybe it's Minnesota, in Minneapolis, or maybe it's Atlanta, or maybe it's Kansas City that is available to pay for that salary. This is a competition entertainment business. This is what they signed up for. They can still get paid as much as anybody wants to pay them. They just don't get to be surrounded by players like them. It spreads the talent out. And again, I don't care how much they make. You can make the salary cap $500 million. You can make it $1 billion. Do whatever what you want, what you will with the salary cap and the salary floor. I don't care. But the reality is, you have to have a set of rules for teams to abide by. Otherwise, there is no competitive balance. That's why they have this fake competitive balance tax that really doesn't do anything because there's not a hard cap. The reason why the Green Bay Packers are good is because they're good at what they do. If the NFL had the open market that Major League Baseball had, Green Bay would suck. And you know who else would suck? Kansas City would suck. And Buffalo would suck. And all these teams in the middle of the country that are not in big markets would be just like the small market teams you see in Major League Baseball. So, again, it's a very controversial issue because I think too many people revert back to the politics and revert back to they hate people that make a ton of money. The reality is, for the betterment of the sport, they have to play by the same rules. You can't buy your way out of problems that doesn't work in a competitive market for sports. That's why I believe there needs to be a cap and there needs to be a floor. The whole floor thing is great too. There's too many owners that do make money that don't spend it. They're also part of the problem. NHL's got a cap. You got all these different teams competing for a Stanley Cup every single year in small markets. The NFL has a cap. It's one of the most entertaining leagues in all of professional sports. The NBA has a cap. You have to have a cap in professional sports. You do. You have to have it. I don't want to hear about anybody that's making tons of money right now that they're crying poverty on that they're going to get capped. No, they just don't get to pick where they get to go anymore. You're going to be a free agent. There's going to be a lot of teams that have already used their, quote, designated player. I mean, it works. The MLS has these rules. Am I lying, Frank? I mean, the MLS has rules where you can only pay two guys as much money as possible. And then outside of that, guess who can't sign anybody? San Diego FC can't sign a designated player right now because they burned one on Chucky Lozano. Nobody complains about the MLS. They all have different rules, but they all play by the same rules in these leagues. That's what this is about. They can make the salary cap, the salary floor, whatever they want. And I understand it's a controversial topic for a lot of people. I think I probably disagree with most of the hosts here at the station. But you can't have this like, oh, well, let's have a floor and then not have a ceiling. You can't have one without the other. It doesn't make any sense. The proposals, I thought both sides had good arguments. I think both sides need to come down on their expectations. And I think based on a lot of things kind of aligning, I think these two entities are actually way closer than they've been in the past. And it's going to come down to what the cap price is going to be and how much extra benefits the owners are going to have to give the players in order to give that cap. I'm not a believer in the whole a cap would never happen because you can never say never about anything, especially when money is involved. For anybody that missed it yesterday, we will go through what the players propose, what the owners propose. We'll dive into what some of the reactions were from people that used to work in front offices and people that used to be players, hear their arguments, and give you stuff to digest when it comes to the CBA. This obviously affects the Padres. We'll get to it more when we come back on the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego Sports Station 97.3 The Fan.
Notre Dame and the ACC are back in the middle of college football drama. Some ACC athletic directors are frustrated after Notre Dame opted out of an ACC bowl game last season, calling it everything from arrogant to unfair. But others in the conference say it's not that serious. They argue Notre Dame didn't actually hurt the ACC. Another team just slid into the bowl spot, and everybody still got paid. Meanwhile, the Irish remain one of the biggest brands in college football and still play a partial ACC schedule. So here's the tension. Notre Dame brings huge TV value in marquee matchups, but doesn't fully commit to the conference. At the same time, the ACC is dealing with playoff expansion talks, NIL enforcement issues, and financial pressure compared to the SEC and Big Ten. So is Notre Dame a valuable partner for the ACC or a constant source of friction in an already unstable college football system? Notre Dame versus the ACC as tensions now resurface as we get closer to the NCAA football season. A new storyline is starting to heat up inside the Atlantic Coast Conference meetings as the relationship between the conference and the University of Notre Dame is once again under the microscope. The spark came from Notre Dame declining an ACC-affiliated bowl game last December after narrowly missing the college football playoff. That decision drew strong anonymous criticism from some ACC athletic directors in a report with comments ranging from frustration to accusations of arrogance. But once the dust settled, a different tone emerged from the ACC and ACC administrators, some of whom pushed back, arguing Notre Dame wasn't actually hurting the conference, but opting out, especially since another team simply moved up in the bowl rotation. Notre Dame has historically been successful in ACC bowl tie-ins, going undefeated in those matchups during its scheduling partnership with the league. But it's a complicated partnership that still kind of works. At the center of this, Notre Dame's longstanding partial affiliation with the ACC, which dates back to 2014, the Irish remain independent in football but play a rotating schedule of ACC opponents and are required to meet certain scheduling agreements each year. Some ACC schools want Notre Dame to commit to a more consistent conference scheduling, while Notre Dame believes certain series like Stanford and upcoming matchups with Clemson should count towards those requirements. Still, both sides acknowledge the relationship is valuable. Notre Dame brings national ratings and marquee matchups, while ACC schools get high-profile games they wouldn't otherwise have. Even critics within the league admit the arrangement is more of a mutual benefit than with friction than a broken partnership. As this is all going about in college football, you have a couple other things that we want to get into. College football playoff expansion debate continuing to heat up, NIL enforcement and financial pressure, and the rise of alternative media deals. Let's start with college football playoff expansion debate. I've seen a lot of topic on this. I am a believer in a 2014 playoff. I think that's the way to go. The FCS already does it. There's no reason why the FBS doesn't do it. And anybody that tells you that it's bad for college football has some sort of agenda where they benefit from it not being 24 teams, or they're affiliated with a conference that benefits with the playoff not being 24 teams. I mean, it's another major topic, not only in the ACC circles, but also everybody else's circles when it comes to potential expansion. In terms of the ACC, their leadership, including Commissioner Jim Phillips, has pushed back against concerns that expansion would damage the regular season. Instead, league officials argue a larger playoff could actually increase the value of non-conference scheduling, encouraging more marquee matchups because a single loss would matter less in a bigger field. Critics, however, argue the opposite, that expanding the field risks weakening the importance of the regular season and conference championships. Still, ACC leaders believe college football's limited number of games means fans will continue to care deeply regardless of the playoff size. I don't believe that college football is going to be worse off by having 24 teams in the college football playoff. All it's going to do is make games more meaningful for teams that, with a loss or two early in the season, would have just had a complete season where nobody cared. And I'm not talking about the power conferences like the SEC or the Big Ten or even the top half of the ACC or the Big 12. But the reality is, the more that these schools stay in the race, the better it is for college football and the bigger the games you're going to get in other conferences. And that's the biggest problem with this debate is they're only looking at it from an SEC Big Ten perspective. The examples that every expert always gives is, oh, the big game between Michigan and Ohio State is going to mean just a little bit less. So what if it does? So what if it doesn't? I don't think it's personally going to be like that because Michigan and Ohio State hate each other. But at the same time, who cares if it does? That game already is between two teams that will most likely be in the playoff every single year. But you know what it does? It then adds value to San Diego State playing Boise State. It adds more value to San Diego State playing Colorado State to throw in some local perspective. It makes Iowa State and Houston matter late in the season. Those are two teams that, might not be playing for a playoff spot. And here's the reality. This is where the people come across on like being on their high horse. They go, well, those games matter because they care.
You just walked into the trap. It's awesome.
Oh, man. People who think that teams like the Rays or Reds can afford a hard floor up to $140 million is delusional. Some teams are richer than others. That's like the whole point of our conversation.
Welcome to the next 40 minutes, bud. and before that, by the way, here's something I think everyone needs to understand. They would not have come out with the proposal of a $171 million floor if the teams that were below that floor didn't think they could get to it.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be approved by everyone in order for it to be an official proposal.
Well, and the other thing too, Frank, that you're like, the people are like, well, people are all upset about the salary floor. They're like, oh, they could do that right now. It's like, no. That's with the equal media revenue sharing, where all of a sudden it's not just the Dodgers making all the money on the TV revenue.
Revenue sharing, so cool, guys.
Yeah, a lot of those teams.
It works.
A lot of those teams don't have like any money coming in on a TV contract, and then they're about to get 70 to 80, maybe even $100 million influx on TV money. Yeah, they could probably increase their payroll at that point. Unbelievable,
brother.
I just like, the reality of the situation is, again, and here's the other thing too. Like, the players are like, hey, the players basically propose their own like cap, but it's a soft cap, so you can blow through it, so you can still pay these guys unlimited funds. I would like to know what that number is for players that counts as enough. Because they always say the argument against the owners all the time, it's like, oh, well, like, how much more do they actually need? Well, I mean, at what point do the players get to a point where it's like, how much money do they actually need? I mean, Ohtani's close to making $1 billion. I mean, does he not count towards like the owners who make $1 billion? Oh, well, they have like multiple billions of dollars. Oh, my bad. Let Ohtani make even more money. It's not a great argument from the people that don't want the salary cap, thinking they're like defending their favorite player. These guys can all make as much money as possible. They can make their full market potential.
You really believe the small amount of revenue sharing that can compare to the TV deal that the Dodgers have? Here's what's happening. All of the money, all of the television money from all of the teams, and they have already agreed to this, which is why it's in their proposal. All of the money from all of the teams gets put into a pool and then gets evenly distributed between the 30 teams.
Like the NFL does. You know what the NFL also does? They increase their salary cap almost every single year.
We'll hear from, because AJ Pierzynski and Eric Kratz had incredible comments on this. And David Sampson, who's the former executive in Miami, former executive in Montreal, I personally think he's a weasel, but he's got...
Most people don't really like him. He had that whole thing with AJ Preller too, which was,
Yeah, he's a weasel. He comes off looking like a smarmy, greasy little know-it-all in the Who Killed the Montreal Expos documentary on Netflix, which is an incredible watch, by the way. Went on and actually laid out, because he's one of the few former owners that actually knows the business side that we can actually talk to and have conversations with about this kind of stuff. We'll get to that a little bit later on this hour as he explains some of that out. But yeah, that's how these smaller teams are going to make it work. The Dodgers, the Yankees, the Mets make a bunch of television money. It's all getting pulled together and evenly distributed, as you said, like the NFL does. That's how they were able to agree to a $170 million floor that they could all get to.
The biggest problem for Major League Baseball and why they're in this position to begin with, and you mentioned it during the break, they didn't start with the salary cap when they started this whole thing. That's the biggest problem. Because now because here's the players that want a salary cap because they like the benefits of being able to go wherever they want and sign for however much they want, and they like it the way it is because it's great. They don't want to give up all the benefits they have because they've had them for so long. Nobody wants to do that. I understand. But at the same time, for the betterment of the sport, for the betterment of my viewing purposes, I would like to have all these teams play by the same rules. Andrew Flores and our guy Andrew Flores in the YouTube chat is like, he does not He's having a rough day. I mean, the NFL has dynasties because their teams are competent, and the competent teams win. And they don't just win because they have a giant TV contract. They win because they're smart with their money. That's how they win. And teams like Dallas and the Niners and some of the Raiders. Are you kidding me? The Raiders. I mean, some of the big marketable teams suck.
To go back to Adam's comment, Frank should be all about the salary cap. It would save the Mets from themselves.
That was funny.
Have you heard of the New York Jets?
That's right.
No, it wouldn't save them from themselves. There's still stupid owners that are going to do stupid things. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things that Dave Sampson touches on in the comments we'll hear a little bit later.
It's just, again, the people, there's two types of people. There's two types of people that don't want a salary cap. It's the ones that are fans of teams that are benefiting from openly spending, and it's people that just hate billionaires. That's literally it. And there's not one competitive on the field argument that you can make against a salary cap. There's not one. Yes, that's exactly what that means.
Oh, brother.
The cap is there designed so the Dallas Cowboys can't win every year because they have more funds than everybody else. That's the whole point of the salary cap.
Winning because you spend the money smartly is one thing.
Winning because you have more than everybody else is a different thing. That's what you're trying to eliminate.
Andrew,
I can't paint it even clearer for this guy. It just, come on, man.
Andrew, staying in the chat, please, with the AI conversation. Please stop.
I mean, come on.
Everyone in that AI conversation, please stop.
The NFL's got dynasties. Yeah, because organizations know how to re-sign their players. They know how to maneuver the cap. They know how to spend their money wisely. It's not because they just have more than everybody else.
And
why the Dallas Cowboys can't win.
Who was one of, if not the biggest star on that 2015 Royals team, which Andrew Flores brought up?
The biggest one? Eric Hosmer?
Eric Hosmer. What happened the year after they won the World Series?
He left.
Exactly.
Why?
Because they didn't have enough money to pay him.
They couldn't pay him anymore. Not that they didn't want to pay him, but the salary cap, you're able to keep as many players as possible. And that's the one thing that Dave Sampson said. We're going to get to that when we come back. Some reactions from the players. Again, so just real quick, since I didn't get to it, but the owners proposed, the Players Association wanted to raise the competitive balance tax threshold to $300 million. They want competitive integrity tax for teams with payrolls under $150 million. They want more money to players. They want to increase their pre-arbitration bonus pool from $50 million to $180 million. They both agree on the revenue sharing with the TV media, with the TV contracts, which is interesting to me. And they want more player earning power, earlier free agency, and expanded arbitration. I mean, obviously, there's a lot. They're asking for a lot because I think they know that they're eventually going to have to get to a salary cap. As for the owners, they've put together a $245 million salary cap that includes benefits. So obviously that's a lower number than what you see. $171 million salary floor, 50-50 revenue split, equal split of baseball revenues between the players and the owners, equal media revenue sharing, and more centralized system where you have greater control to promote a competitive balance. That was the owner's proposal. It's the first one for either one. They're going to negotiate a lot of the money aspects of it. But we have reactions from former players and reactions from former front office members. And you will definitely want to hear this when we come back.
The NBA playoffs are absolutely delivering right now, and the biggest story might be Victor Wembanyama announcing himself as the future face of the league. The Spurs and Thunder are tied 2-2 in the Western Conference Finals after Wembanyama dropped 41 points in 24 boards in a double overtime Game 1 masterpiece, and then followed it up with another dominant performance in Game 4 to even up the series. But Oklahoma City keeps responding behind MVP Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the deepest bench left in the playoffs. This series feels destined for 7 games. Meanwhile, out east, the New York Knicks are one win away from the NBA Finals after taking a shocking 3-0 lead over the Cleveland Cavaliers. Jalen Brunson has completely taken over this postseason, and the Knicks have now won 10 straight playoff games. Right now, it feels like we're heading towards a dream finals matchup between the New York Knicks and the Oklahoma City Thunder, unless Wembanyama has something to say about that. Western Conference playoff has been an absolute bloodbath. It has been the matchup that everybody wanted between the defending champion Oklahoma City Thunder and the rising San Antonio Spurs, and it has absolutely delivered. The Knicks out east are one win away from their first NBA Finals appearance since 1999 after completely taking control against the Cleveland Cavaliers after Game 1. We'll start with the West. This series has turned into a heavyweight fight between Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Victor Wembanyama. Game 1 became an instant classic as Victor Wembanyama dropped 41 points and 24 boards in a double overtime win in Oklahoma City to steal home court advantage. Dylan Harper added 7 steals, and the Spurs showed zero fear against the defending champs, but Oklahoma City responded, which is exactly what championship teams do. Game 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander bounced back with 30 points as the Thunder used their depth and defense to even the series. Oklahoma City's bench completely changed the game, outscoring San Antonio's bench 57-25. Game 3, Oklahoma City erased a 15-point deficit early in San Antonio and dominated the second half behind SGA and another huge bench performance. The Thunder reserves scored 76 points in that game, showing why their depth might be the difference in this series. But just when it looked like Oklahoma City had the series completely under control, the Spurs punched back. Game 4 was vintage Spurs basketball as San Antonio held Oklahoma City to just 82 points, their second lowest playoff scoring total, not just this postseason, but in franchise history. Wembanyama looked unstoppable with 33 points and 8 boards, 5 assists, and 3 blocks, while the Spurs defense completely smothered the Thunder's shooters. Now the series is tied 2-2, headed back to Oklahoma City, and this thing suddenly feels like it could go 7 games easily. The New York Knicks out east have completely taken over this series against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and honestly, this series changed completely in the fourth quarter of Game 1. The Cavs were leading by 22 points with under 8 minutes remaining before Jalen Brunson sparked one of the greatest playoff comebacks we have seen in years. The Knicks closed regulation on a 30-8 run, forced overtime, and completely flipped the momentum of the series. Since then, Cleveland has looked rattled and defeated. Game 2 featured Josh Hart scoring a career playoff high 26 points while the Knicks defense locked everything down again, as they've done all postseason. And then in Game 3, New York dominated from the start to finish behind Brunson, Mikal Bridges, and OG Anunoby's great games. The Knicks have now won 10 straight playoff games, and almost every victory has been by double digits. The scary part for the rest of the league is this isn't just Brunson carrying anymore. Karl Anthony Towns is facilitating. Hart is hitting big shots. Bridges is defending at a high level, and the Knicks are playing with incredible confidence and toughness. It has been a great, great series to watch, especially if you're like me and a New York Knicks fan. But what to watch coming up over the course of this week, again, as we record this on Monday. Can Oklahoma City regain control at home in Game 5 against the San Antonio Spurs? That's going to be a big one. Will Victor Wembanyama continue building his superstar playoff legacy? Can the Cleveland Cavaliers avoid getting swept? And are the Knicks officially becoming America's team during this playoff run? Because right now these playoffs feel wide open, and every game is producing one unforgettable moment after another.
1040. Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Joining us in the next segment on the SDCCU fan hotline will be Bill Shaikin. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. We will get to the manager's report in the next hour as well. But we do want to get to some of the reactions from former players and former front office members about the two proposals that were put out there for Major League Baseball and a new CBA. One of them, of course, former players obviously don't like the owners' debate, and the former front office member obviously doesn't like necessarily the reactions from the players. Let's get to the first clip, and this is from Foul Territory.
All of these are from Foul Territory.
And it's AJ Pierzynski and Eric Kratz. Is that his name?
Yes.
They were discussing the owner's proposal, and they obviously didn't like it.
But they don't have money. They can't afford. But the $99 million Marlins can't afford, barely survive. David Sampson and all his crap he just spewed about how we can't afford it. But now all of a sudden every team can afford 171. Come on, man. This is some bull crap, man. I'm sorry.
But this is the whole point.
I know he just spewed for 20 minutes about how him and the Marlins couldn't afford, to keep the team around and this and that. They had the money to pay him the contracts originally. And now that the players went at 150, and now the owners say 171, and 240 is the cap now, hard cap. Like, come on, this is why this negotiations take so long. This is kind of ridiculous. I'm not going to say just from the owner, kind of from both sides, but this is kind of ridiculous.
The funny thing is, though, if the teams can't afford that kind of money, then what do? You share it. It's the whole answer to everything. All you have to do is figure out how they're splitting.
It's an owner versus owner fight. It's an owner versus owner fight. That's what it is.
That's the whole name of the game. That's it.
Here, guys, we'll help you. We'll help you. This is Stevie Cohen. Stevie Cohen. This is Hal Steinbrenner. Hal Steinbrenner. This is Tom Ricketts. And you guys meet together and you guys talk about how you have the majority of the money. The other teams want it. If you truly, as Major League Baseball, want competitive balance and a fair fight for each season, you're going to have to give some of this money up. Well, I'm not giving it up. How about you? Are you giving it up? Nope. We already give them a lot. We have to give them more? Wait a minute. How's that going to happen? Oh, just give them more because, okay, well, then let's get a floor. You guys have to spend every penny on payroll. To me, that's where the answer is. Not, because we bought 2 Traject machines, that's $1 million for our Dominican Academy. We just built a new Dominican Academy that's $30 million. Well, we spent 30 of the Yankees' money that they gave to us, the Pirates.
What is Eric Kratz talking about?
I don't know what any of those guys are talking about. Did they even read this stuff? I mean, AJ Pierzynski was like, now all of a sudden they can afford it. It's like, did you guys even read the proposal?
That's revenue sharing.
Yeah, that's what the revenue sharing
And again, as far as Eric Kratz is concerned, that's what's going to happen. They agreed to it. That's why they put it in the proposal. Like, come on, guys. They literally just saw the word salary cap and said, no shot.
Right. That's just, the players are so trained to just do that all the time, and they think they're going to get, screwed over in this deal. They're still going to make the amount of money that they make. And here's the other thing, too. There's other ways around this that, they have to negotiate. Like, in the NFL, they all get paid what there's, and the MLB is actually better than the NFL. And the owners actually gave them a 50-50 revenue split.
Yes, they did. They offered 50-50.
You know who doesn't get that? The National Football League. Major League Baseball, I bet, if you're going to get a cap, there's no way in hell you're going to get contracts that are not guaranteed. They're all going to be guaranteed contracts too. So they're going to get guaranteed contracts. They're going to get a 50-50 revenue split. And there's going to be ways around the cap. They're going to have the signing bonuses, and that's not going to count towards the cap. There's ways that these players are going to still make the money that gets them their worth, if you will. I don't believe that a salary cap is going to hurt the middle or the lower part of Major League Baseball players, not when they're going to be making $1.5 million potentially in league minimum. It's actually going to increase because you know what these small market teams are going to do to get to over the cap? they're going to start paying for a lot of guys there in the middle that are probably going to be making a lot more money than they're used to making. Because right now, a lot of those players are not even getting contracts. That's why you got guys like, Griffin Canning and Lucas Giolito signing super late. They got nothing that they wanted to have at the contract negotiations during the offseason. Here's the other thing too. When you have the guys at the top making unlimited funds, you get these bidding wars. These teams are spending all their money on those guys, so then they have to lowball somebody else. With the salary cap and floor, it's actually going to benefit the middle to the bottom half of Major League Baseball players, and it's going to hurt the top 1%. That's why you hear all of this from the Players Association, because they got that subcommittee of 8 to 9 guys at the top 1% that dictate what the rest of the Players Association does. Which I find ironic that, you want to sit there and take care of the little guy with the players. The top of the players, they don't even take care of their own middle to lower guys in the organization. I mean, that was like the last labor negotiations. The middle to the bottom was, all right, let's sign this deal. Let's get back to playing because I need the money. And they got overruled by the 8 guys at the top who could afford to sit out longer because they were sitting on a stack of cash. So I just, a lot of the arguments from the Players Association fall flat to me. I can't entertain it too much.
And because of those comments that we just heard from Przinsky and Kratz, they brought up Dave Sampson. Dave Sampson then went on Twitter and said, I'll talk about it any time with you guys. That's fine by me. And so they actually had him come on and talk to them directly a couple hours later, which is where these next clips are going to come from.
I think we have time for a couple of them, right? Or at least one.
Yeah, they're all under a minute.
Let's get to the first one so Sampson decided to come on and he talks about the good and bad teams and the payrolls.
Well, listen, you're never going to legislate away stupidity. You know that. There's front offices that no matter what are just going to stink, and the teams are going to be bad. You're also going to have dynasties in leagues with salary caps. We've seen it in football with the Patriots. You saw it in basketball with the Warriors. And there's dynasties in baseball without a salary cap with teams that aren't necessarily at the top of the payroll chain. My only point in how to look at things in a capped league is that I just want the difference between the top team and the bottom team to be smaller so that we can point out who's really stupid and who's not. In the NFL, does anyone argue that the Jets are just incompetent? Because they've got the same ability to win as the Packers. It's not about New York versus Green Bay, which in baseball would be a big deal. That's number one. Number two, those other sports, every team has a chance to keep their players. Think about Oklahoma City. They could win a second title in a row. They re-sign their star players. When we won a title, we had to let Pudge go to Detroit. We had to trade Derek Lee because we just literally could not afford it, didn't have the cash. And I just would rather teams have an opportunity to show that they're smart or be shown that they're not.
I couldn't say it better myself. That's literally the entire argument for a salary cap and a salary floor. It's the entire argument. Thank you, Dave Sampson. I didn't think I'd ever say that.
Yeah, I know, right?
Didn't think I'd ever say that. But it's the reality of the situation. Yeah. It doesn't eliminate dynasties from happening because it doesn't eliminate stupidity. And you're going to quickly realize what organizations are stupid and what organizations do things in a very intelligent way. I'm going to tell you right now, you put in a salary cap and a salary floor, I bet you the Rays win a World Series within the first 3 years.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
I bet you the Rays finally win a World Series. I bet you the Brewers win a World Series. I bet you some of these teams that are thriving right now without a salary cap or salary floor will actually get the job done. I mean, you could say what you want. This is the argument I hear all the time. Well, the Brewers aren't spending a lot of money and the Guardians aren't spending a lot of money and the Rays aren't spending any money and they're good. What do all three of those teams have in common, Frank?
They're smart. They have good ownership.
They don't win the World Series.
Yeah, that's who.
They don't win it. They don't win it. They don't even come close. I mean, we had the Brewers broadcaster on. He's like, oh, man, they just can't get over the hump. Why? Because they keep running into these super teams that have all this money. This helps those teams. These are the ones that aren't spending because it's not that they're just like greedy and holding on to all the profits. They don't have the money to spend because they don't have these massive TV contracts. I bet you those teams will start winning a World Series if you decide if they put in a salary cap and a salary floor, you'd start to see these teams win World Series.
These next two clips are 36 seconds each. The bottom one, I think, the last one, I think.
Let's get to the next one then, if we have some time. Let's get to still needing a sample size from Dave Sampson.
It's not about looking at 1 year's worth of standings. Anything to have statistical relevance needs time. It needs sample size. I'm not going to look at 60 games and tell you that I conclude X or Y. I don't think anyone should do that in any business. You have to take a much longer term view and then analyze. And the analysis says that the lower the payroll, the less likely it is to make the playoffs. And even if you're in the playoffs, the less likely it is to advance. It's not that the owners are making that up. It's actually the facts going back, 20 years.
That was him on using MLB's current standings as an argument about competitive balance.
Yeah, let's hold off on the other two clips. I got to say, like, he says everything that needs to be said because that's what the deal is in baseball. And you can't have a league like that thrive in the long term when you have teams before the season start have no shot at winning a World Series. In the NFL, everybody's got a chance to win because everybody's playing by the same rules. Whether or not they're competent or not remains to be seen. But I will say this. It shouldn't be, I have more money, I have a better chance. It should be, I'm smarter at acquiring talent and using my funds wisely and developing players should be the difference. That should be the difference. If you have dynasties like that, at least you could sit there and be like, we got to figure out what we're doing here in the front office sense, not we got to find ways to make more money. And you know what? If you were to have this, then you don't have to listen to the Pirates bitch, moan, and complain that they don't have enough money and they're trying the best that they can. You can just be like, you aren't very good at what you do. It's simple. I don't know why you would ever be against this aside from the fact you want your favorite player to make, more generational wealth, I guess. I don't understand. The salary cap and a salary floor rewards the teams that do things the right way. And you know what? Maybe the Dodgers would still be the best team in Major League Baseball because they know how to do a lot of this stuff. Or maybe they won't. But at least if that was the case and the Dodgers were ripping off World Series titles with a salary cap and a salary floor, at least you could sit there and be like, you know what?
They really are better.
They're better.
They are just straight up better.
They're doing everything better. How do we get to what they're doing? And it's not, we have to find ways to make more money. It's the same thing in college athletics. It's the same thing. It shouldn't be about having more than the other person. It should be about these are the rules of the game, and this is how we win. I mean, you don't allow that on the field, so why do you allow it in constructing a roster? It's not like the big market. It's not like certain teams get to play with a bigger ball or use a bigger bat or use different equipment or get to start with a runner on second. I mean, that's what this is about. These labor negotiations are just whatever. But the reality is, and I know the players want to be able to make as much money as they possibly can. They have to be able to do that within the constraints of the industry at the same time. And that's what it is. And that's what it's going to be. We're going to hear a little bit more about this from Bill Shaikin. He's got the report from the Dodgers, how the Dodgers view this, which is an important case.
Hey, it's Ben.
11 o'clock on the Braden Surprenant Show, setting us on Sports Station 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant, as we will take you up to Gwen and Chris, who will take over for us at 2 o'clock, getting you into Padres baseball. 3:45 start today. Early time out there on DC. Padres taking on the Nationals for the next 3 days. Padres first pitch will be at 3:45. Equal Water SoCal Padres pregame show at 2:45. Only a couple of segments of Gwen and Chris today, which will involve Frank Marchese. Frank will be out there. Joining us now on the STCCU fan hotline, a great writer for the Los Angeles Times. He is a MLB writer for the LA Times. Covers a lot of different topics aside from just the teams up in the LA area. His name is Bill Shaikin. Haven't had Bill on in a long time, but it's good to have him back. Bill, saw you at the in the press box the other day at Petco Park. Good to have you back here in San Diego for a little bit. What's going on? How's your Friday?
Friday's good. Hope yours is as well.
Yes, we are fired up to talk more baseball, and obviously the big thing in baseball right now, they have started the CBA labor negotiations. Both parties put out their first proposal for the players. Obviously, a lot of things that involve them getting a lot of money. The owners want to put in a salary cap. What was your initial reaction to what the players proposed and what the owners proposed on this first level of negotiations?
In terms of the actual proposals, not that surprising. MLB has been telling anyone who will listen that they want a salary cap for past year, 2 years maybe. The union has been telling anyone that will listen that they don't. So now we have some details. But look, in any bargaining, a first proposal is basically a wish list. And you whittle your way down as you figure out what you can live with and what you can't. What's most interesting to me is how public this became right away. And the reason is the owners are enlisting fans as part of their negotiating team. The owners are saying, we are doing what the fans are demanding. And whether that comes to pass or not, we'll see. But the owners are very public about how we're doing the best we can, but under this system, we can't give you the kind of competitive balance and parity that you say you want. Now, is that actually true in every market with every fan? No. Is it true in enough? Certainly the owners hope so.
And that's going to be an interesting question I'll ask you in just a little bit. Obviously, the Dodgers are the main focal point of this, and you wrote a piece on that, with Mark Walter and even Magic Johnson. We'll get to that in a second. The other part of the proposal, I thought there was a couple of things that they seemed to be aligned on, and it was revenue split and also TV media split. And for a lot of people that might not know the difference, what are the differences for that? What were the slight differences between the players' proposal and the owner's proposal? And are you surprised that both sides agree that maybe we should be splitting some of these TV checks?
Well, it goes down to the fundamental issue of if there's $12 billion plus in the baseball industry every year, is that enough? And what I mean by that is, from a union point of view, can the owners solve this problem among themselves? If you're saying that a team in, Miami, Kansas City, Cleveland, pick a small market, doesn't have enough money to put a winning team on the field, and the owners are sitting on $12 billion plus a year in revenue, why don't they just split it? They don't need the players to do that. They can do that themselves. And the owners, of course, are saying, we'll do that, but with these conditions attached that make it more economically sound for people to own teams.
That makes a lot of sense. We're talking with Bill Shaikin, who is a writer for the Los Angeles Times. He's joining us right now on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. You talked to the Dodgers ownership group, and in that conversation, I think a lot of people, when they saw this proposal, immediately go, oh, there's no way the Dodgers and the Yankees and the Red Sox and some of these entities that have these big TV contracts are going to be in on this particular idea of sharing all this revenue. But that doesn't really sound like that's the case. I mean, with your conversations with the Dodgers ownership, they both said, both Mark Walter and even Magic Johnson, the Dodgers can't win all the time. What was your biggest takeaway from that interview? And were you surprised to hear what the Dodgers ownership group had to say?
My first take was it's pretty interesting to tell the Dodger fans they can't win all the time, because they pretty much do. But I think Mark Walter's point, and Magic's too, is that they feel that they run a sharp enough organization, and clearly the results show that they do, that in any system they'll be fine. And ultimately, that's what you want to get. You want to get to a point where if you're winning or losing, it's not just because you have the money or you don't have the money. It's because you're running a good operation, or if you're losing, you're not, right? So the owners are trying to orient things toward that. Mark Walter is one of the owners, and the owners under Rob Manfred have spent a lot of time trying to get everybody unified on the presentation they made yesterday, a salary cap and combining local media revenues. And I think your underlying question is good. Well, why would the Dodgers do this? It's not in their interest. So if you tell the Dodgers, we're going to take your hundreds of millions of dollars in local TV revenue every year that teams like say the Padres don't have because the RSN system blew up. Well, what's in it for the Dodgers? Give us most of your money, maybe give us all of your money that other teams don't even have, and then we'll split it equally. Why would the Dodgers do that? And the answer, based on yesterday's proposal, is that if you cap spending on players, the Dodgers will get hundreds of millions of dollars back that they won't have to spend on players anymore because they can't, right? They'll be over the limit.
Right.
So the limit that the owners proposed yesterday was in the 200s. The Dodgers are spending, in the 400s, right? So it'll be a financial wash for the Dodgers, and I still think they can make it work. Now, having said that, that's a first offer. The players clearly are not going to like it, just as the owners didn't like what the players had to offer on day one. So when push comes to shove, which is months away, will the Dodgers still want to do that if they can't get a salary cap? For example, right? All sorts of questions about what teams are willing to do if you don't get the whole package that was presented. The players aren't going to ever give the owners that whole package. So what happens when the owners have to decide what they want and what they don't want? And we'll see.
It's very interesting. Yeah, especially how this negotiation really starts to play out, which, leads to another question on the sense that what I thought was interesting from the owner's proposal was they're going to split the TV money, but they're not going to split, or if they do, it's very small, the revenue you make when it comes to attendance, when it comes to keeping your own local revenue, which obviously benefits teams, like the Padres, who have filled the stadium and have, spent the money on the players to help fill the stadium. It incentivizes teams to be very competitive, to get people in the seats. Is that, with that proposal, I would lean a little bit on the sense that would be a pro player kind of add to the conversation, because it rewards teams to spend money on top of the fact that they're going to put in a salary floor. I'm curious if there's been any comments that you have heard from, the Players Association or on that particular part of the proposal. But that to me seems like that might be in favor of the players long term.
That's basically what the players proposed. They said, put in all your television revenue and share it, and let the owners keep attendance and concessions and parking and all that stuff to do exactly what you said. Put a good team on the field and you'll make more money. So I don't think they're in great disagreement on that. I think the question is, do you have to cap player salaries to do all that? And the sides clearly do not agree on that issue.
I'm sure there's got to be other things that will evolve. I'm sure the owners have a couple more ideas up their sleeves potentially when it comes to the salary cap. Maybe you go with MLS and do designated players where certain players can make as much money as possible. Doesn't count towards the cap. I'm sure there's a lot of ways around it. How creative do you think the owners will get to try to get this through? Because it sounds like they've dug their heels in the sand and they're not going to budge until they get a salary cap.
Well, that's what they said in 1994. That was the last time they really seriously proposed a salary cap. It was in the middle of the season. The players went on strike. And as everyone remembers, we didn't get a World Series in 1994, and we did not get a full season in 1995. So that could happen again, and then we'll see. The real test for this is if everybody sticks to their primary positions, what happens if they start missing games? And the owners, I imagine, would hope that the players will see that they're missing their salaries and give in. And the players, I would imagine, would think the owners would look at empty stadiums and money they're losing from television broadcasts that aren't happening because the games aren't happening. And maybe they'll give in. So, a lot of the stress points aren't going to come till April if it gets that far.
Last thing for you, Bill, and I appreciate you joining us today as we have Bill Shaikin on from the LA Times to talk about the CBA negotiations. You also had something on potential MLB expansion. Obviously, we have heard the rumors from Rob Manfred that they want to potentially expand a couple more teams to Major League Baseball. They wanted to get some stadiums settled before they did that. And it sounds like they might start listening to a couple of city proposals. Sacramento has been hosting the A's the last couple of years, and it sounds like, Bill, that they want to make it a permanent residence and have a full team there. Obviously not the A's, but maybe an expansion team. What's the latest on Sacramento putting a bid together to potentially add a Major League Baseball team?
They've done a lot of work. I was surprised when I listened to their presentation yesterday. It was sort of the grand kickoff of what they're calling the Sacramento pitch. Okay, good pun there, on how to get a Major League team to the state capitol. And instead of just having a press conference and some printed T-shirts and hats and saying, hey, we want a team, they've done a great bit of work with government officials there to identify where a stadium would go and identify most of how they would fund it, which is a huge question, because in an expansion bid, that's the first thing Major League Baseball wants to know: where are you going to play and who's paying for your stadium? So they've kind of got those questions answered. What they don't have right now would be a lead investor. So they have some government money, they have some public money, as I said, they have some private money that they've raised, and now what they're looking for is basically the big fish to come in and be their Peter Seidler, if you will. And, they can only hope they can find someone who is good as Peter was, but then it's still a derby. And Salt Lake would like a team, Portland would like a team, Vancouver, Montreal, Nashville, Raleigh, Charlotte. I'm sure I'm forgetting some places. So there'd be a lot of competition for two teams. And, if you're Major League Baseball, I would think that puts you in a pretty good position.
Bill, appreciate the time. Thanks again for joining us. A wealth of knowledge on this particular topic. I'll be sure to stay tuned to what else you got coming up when you post on the when you guys have your stuff posted on the LA Times as well as social media. Bill, thanks again for the time. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you next time.
All right. Thank you.
Bill Shaikin, LA Times, joining us on the SDCCU fan hotline. It's not Big Bang Banking. It's better. Again, we had Bill on because he wrote a big piece about. He's a national baseball writer for the LA Times, and he had a lot of interesting stuff on the CBA. And I mean, just in that whole ordeal, I mean, you start to look at the two proposals, and it kind of came out during that interview, Frank. They're aligned on a lot of stuff. It's the only thing that's really not in agreement is a salary cap. I mean, they even agree on a salary floor, and obviously that money's going to change. But when you go through the proposals, they're pretty much the same across the board, with the exception of the cap and the word cap as a dirty word.
Yeah, no, it's really just down to
phrasing.
That's really all it's down to. The players implemented a floor. They just didn't call it a floor, and they kept the cap, which they didn't call a cap. That's really the biggest difference is the fact that they just don't want the word cap in there, which I'm sorry, it's going to have to be. It's going to have to be in there.
But the other thing too, it's like they are putting in, and this goes to what you were saying, they're putting in a soft cap and a soft floor where it's, don't go over this. But if you do, it's not really that big of a deal. You just got to pay a little bit extra. Like, it's not, they're putting in rules that could be bent and not enforced, which you can't. I mean, it's either a rule or it's not. I mean, we have seen this in professional sports. We've seen it in college sports. We've seen it in a lot of sports. You have to have solid rules. Otherwise, nobody follows them, and you don't have any rules. And for people that go because again, a lot of it's about, we hate owners because they have so much money. Put in a salary floor. There's no reason for a cap. I mean, if you put in a floor without a cap, it benefits the players because now everybody's just going to get a raise, and then nothing changes. They don't accomplish what they're trying to accomplish in terms of competitive balance. I get where the players are coming from in a sense of why don't you guys figure this out? But even if they were to share the money, you have to have some type of rules of how much you can spend. Otherwise, it doesn't matter. They'll all get a boost, but then the Dodgers, guess what they're going to do? They're just going to tap into their other funds and continue to outspend everybody. You're never going to get the competitive balance without putting in a cap. It's almost impossible.
And we discussed it a little bit before the show started, but those numbers are going to move. The 171 and the 245.3 are going to move. I don't see the floor moving more than the cap does. So like if the floor moves up to 200, just say for a round number, the cap is going to move more than $30 million north in that case. I'm like you. I don't care what the cap and the floor are as long as they're somewhat close. Like if they're at 150 million and 350 million, then it's like
what's the point?
What's the point? So as long as they're somewhat relatively close, that's fine. And yeah, those numbers are going to move around. It's the opening salvo. That's all it is. You're basically at this point, you're just putting down on paper, like kind of like you said, a wish list. This is what we are wanting. We can discuss the terms later. We can iron it out a little bit later. But I think one thing that Bill said during that is I really think the difference between 1994 and 2026 is that Major League Baseball and the owners have the people on their side in this case with the salary cap. And I think that really is going to make the biggest difference because the longer this goes, the more and more people are going to be looking at the players and the Players Association as the ones to blame, not the way it was in 94 when you were looking at it was the owners and the owners to blame.
Yeah, in 94, the total payroll for all teams was $884 million. And the average salary was $1.2 million, and the minimum salary was $109,000. I know with inflation and everything, that's still making really good money. But the more, I think, Frank, the more the players drift away from the common man in a sense that the common man can relate to said player and they're living in the same neighborhoods and they're right. The less I think the fans really sympathize or reason with a lot of these players. Because back when, like in 94, like you had like, you know, a lot of these players would live in like Scripps Ranch and Poway and like they're living in your local communities. Now it's like they all live in Coronado and Del Mar and like deep into Poway. I mean, it's not as relatable, I think, for a lot of fans who are tired of paying for a lot of stuff themselves, who are tired of dealing with their own finances. And then when you sit there and everybody, especially out here in San Diego, are struggling with a lot of different prices and paying for gas and all that stuff, it's hard to listen to players that make $30 to $40 million a year complaining they're not getting enough. I think it's hard for the people to feel that way.
What did you say the total salary between all the teams was in 94?
Total payroll in 94 is $884 million.
Total payroll this year, $6.245 billion.
Yeah. I'm telling you, it's just, it's easier to relate to the players in 94 than it is now. Highest team payrolls in Major League Baseball that year: Yankees, Braves, Blue Jays, Dodgers, all major markets. 44 million.
And Toronto is just coming off a back-to-back World Series, so it makes sense.
44 million, 49 million, 48 million, 47 million. Lowest team payrolls: San Diego, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Anaheim.
That's another thing I thought of last segment. When we're talking about a salary cap and we're talking about who needs to get compliant, who would have ever thought at any point in the Padre history that they would have to bring their salary down to become compliant with this?
We got to take a break, but like lowest team payrolls, you ready for this? The Padres had the lowest payroll in 94. $13.5 million.
You're paying Manny 3 times that.
Brewers 18 million, Pirates 19 million, Angels 25 million. Now, obviously, I understand the money back then is a lot more.
Inflation,
right, with inflation.
Yes, of course.
Top individual salaries: Bobby Bonilla, Ryan Sandberg, Joe Carter, Cal Ripken, Ron Gant.
Don't say that BB name ever again.
Well, he was getting paid the most. You know how much he was getting paid?
What was it, like $3 million?
6.3 million.
Wow.
When we come back, we'll hear a couple more clips from Dave Sampson about this. We'll get your phone calls, 833-288-1973, 833-288-1973. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's Urban Sports Station, 97 through the Fan.
The NFL schedule is out, and some teams already won before the season even started. Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, huge winners. Kansas City gets extra recovery time for Patrick Mahomes, 2 straight home games, and a perfectly timed early bye week. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Eagles may have the cleanest road to another NFC title, but not everybody got lucky. The 49ers have 2 international games plus a brutal late season stretch. The Miami Dolphins might have the hardest schedule in all of football. And then there's the Bears, 6 short weeks, weird kickoff times, and nonstop routine changes for now in his earlier terms as the head coach in Ben Johnson. So how much should scheduling matter in the National Football League? Because some teams clearly got help and others got buried. The full 2026 NFL schedule finally came out. And as always, it's not just about who teams play, it's about when they play them, because schedule releases can absolutely shape a way a season plays out. Rest advantages, travel, primetime exposure, bye week placement, international games, short weeks, all of those things matter. And after looking through the entire slate, there are some clear winners and losers this season before the season even kicks off. The biggest winner is Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. Let's start with them. He's coming off a torn ACL. He's made it clear that week 1 is his target, although who knows if he's able to play by week 1 at full Patrick Mahomes potential or not. And the NFL, well, they quietly helped him out. They get a final Monday night slot of opening week, so a couple extra days of rest just in case to try to get him activated for week 1. 2 straight home games to start the season, and a week 5 bye, and a relatively manageable early stretch before things get brutal later in the year as Patrick Mahomes navigates this torn ACL injury. That setup gives him extra rehab time, a softer runway, and a chance to ease into the season before the Chiefs hit that late year gauntlet that includes Buffalo, the Chargers, and more division games. If he's even close to healthy by October, Kansas City could be dangerous again very quickly, and the schedule really plays into their favor. The New York Jets might actually have hope, yes. And then there's the Jets might change a little bit with their schedule. Here's the interesting one. New York Jets head coach Aaron Glenn. Year 2 pressure is real after only 3 wins last season, but the schedule gives the Jets a chance to breathe. 4 of their first 8 games come against the Titans, the Browns, the Dolphins, and the Raiders. Those are very much winnable games. If the Jets simply handle business early, they could be hovering around 500 midway through the season, which honestly would be, completely change the energy around that franchise. And in New York, it's all about momentum, especially when it comes to the sports teams in Manhattan. The NFC North is going to be chaos. Green Bay Packers look like the schedule winners out of the division. They've got several cold weather home games late in the year, 5 primetime games at Lambeau, a bye that lines up nicely before Thanksgiving, and a softer opening stretch than some division rivals. Meanwhile, Chicago Bears got hammered with scheduling quirks. Second-year head coach Ben Johnson now has 6 short weeks, multiple odd kickoff windows, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday games, destroys routine, and the coaches hate routine disruption. No matter if you're in year 50 or year 2, year 1, it doesn't really matter. The Bears are talented, but this schedule is going to test their preparation every single week. Eagles got a gift. Philadelphia might have the cleanest path to the NFC. There's some tough games in there for the Eagles, but there's no overwhelming murderous stretch. Their bye week lands very well. Their holiday schedule is very favorable, and even their road stretches feel very manageable. That matters for a team trying to become the first NFC East franchise in decades to win the division 3 straight years. The pressure is still there on Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, especially with questions surrounding A.J. Brown, but the schedule absolutely helps out the Eagles. In terms of the biggest losers, it's got to be San Francisco and Miami. The Niners got absolutely worked by the travel schedule. They're opening their season up in Australia. They got another international game in Mexico City. They have brutal late season road trips and one of the toughest closing stretches in all the National Football League. That's rough even for a veteran roster that the Niners have. Meanwhile, the Dolphins may have the hardest schedules in the entire league, not just the AFC. 3 of their first 4 games are on the road. Late season trips to Buffalo, Denver, and Green Bay, all places that are very cold late in the season. And their final 6 games are against playoff teams from last year. That's brutal for a rebuilding team with a first-year head coach. last thing for you, don't sleep on the New Orleans Saints. They were kind of a sneaky schedule winner when the schedule came out. The NFC South feels wide open again. It's really wide open almost every year. And while the Saints have some very tough games early, their overall schedule is very manageable. Only one primetime game for the Saints, no overwhelming travel stretches outside of the game in Paris. And if they survive those 2 weeks, they might quietly hang around and be part of the playoff race all year, especially in the division like the NFC South. The NFL season isn't one in May, but schedule's absolutely sharp. They absolutely shape expectations. Some teams got smoother ramps, others got landmines, and in a league.
11:27, broadcasting live at the Bill House Studios. We know how. Got a lot to talk about still about the Padres and about some labor negotiations. I know that's always fun. I like the business side of sports. Maybe it's my business minor that I got. It's like got my wheels turning. But I think this is interesting stuff. I mean, we talked about the 1994 money. Total payrolls of all teams was $884 million. The Padres were making $13.5 million. That was the lowest payroll in baseball at $13.5 million. That in 1994 money to today, Manny Machado makes more than the Padres do, because $13.5 million in 1994 is equivalent to about $30 million in 2026. Manny's making more than the entire Padres.
Making $5 million more than the entire Padre roster in 94, and that's incredible.
Total payroll for Major League Baseball this season is estimated at $6.1 billion. Total payroll in Major League Baseball in 1994 equivalent $1.9 billion. $884 million in 1994 equivalent to $1.9 billion in 2026. League minimum $109,000 in 1994 is equivalent to about $243,000 in today's money. So in 94, as Frank brought up as we went to break, people and fans were more inclined to side with the players who were living in their communities and living down the street, and they were, upper middle class at that time, probably. But like now, I mean, with the comparison, $243,000. that is like a middle class, probably lower middle class family in terms of household income. It's a little bit different now. I think it's harder for people to relate to the players in 2026 than they did in 1994. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We'll get to your phone calls in just a second. But I do want to get to the last thing from Dave Sampson. It was about the transparency of this reaction to the proposals by the Players Association and for the owners. Here's what Dave Sampson said, a former front office member of the Miami Marlins, now podcaster. He was on Foul Territory.
It's not about looking at 1 year's worth of standings.
That wasn't it. Why did I think I might have. No, I did. Stupid me.
Foul.
No,
Foul out Friday.
He
draws the foul.
Come on.
I'll get it because it was a good one.
Well, if it was so good, maybe you shouldn't have deleted it.
I didn't delete it. I
like
just
the regional basically. Yeah.
doubled. Shut up. Me? Oh, here it is. I got it.
There we go.
But you know this. The union has access to the financials. The union sees the actual audited financials of the teams. That's the ultimate irony of all this for me, is that everyone says everyone's lying, except everyone has the audited statements where you can't fool auditors. There's no accounting tricks. There's notes. There's tens of pages of notes that accompany all audit reports. It's thick, and you sign it as the team president, and you have to read every word and understand why the numbers are what the numbers are. Transparency is not the issue. Certainly as it relates to fans, they don't have the transparency because who wants to think about or look at these numbers? But collective bargaining, the players and the owners are looking at the same facts, but they just look at them through different prisms. And you can see that with the commissioners saying it's about competitive balance, the players saying, what are you talking about? The Brewers are in first place. So when two people look at the same situation and see a different item or a different figure, it's hard to negotiate.
That's the first I've heard that the players have access to this, not these numbers.
Yeah, that was the first time I heard that too. That's why I thought it was so interesting.
Yeah, I'm curious about that. I mean, if they have access to the numbers, I don't want to hear them complaining about opening the books anymore. But I don't know if that's true or not. Nobody really fought him on it. Nobody has fought him on it. So maybe it is true. Maybe they can see the numbers of the books here. But, as he mentioned, because Augie in the YouTube chat's like, I want to see the numbers. Well, you're never going to see it unless you own a team. You're just never going to see that information. It's like what a national treasure. You're never going to see that unless you become president of the United States. Yeah, well, that's kind of the same deal with this. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Let's get out to Mark and Sarah Mason. Mark, what's going on, man?
Hey, almost afternoon, guys. I must admit I am a Dodger fan here, but I'm questioning if these meetings would have come up if it hadn't been for the Dodgers going back to back the last couple of seasons. I mean, there's plenty of examples of lower rung teams in regards to payroll, at least making it to the World Series. Baseball playoffs is certainly a crapshoot, and you just got to get in, and then anything can happen.
Yeah, but there hasn't been a top 10 payroll team to win a World Series in over 20 years. That's the argument. And the thing is, Mark, and I appreciate the phone call. They had to go through these labor negotiations anyway because their collective bargaining agreement is up on December 1st of this year. But I think the drive for a salary cap has escalated because of the fact that the Dodgers were able to buy the best player in Major League Baseball, and then were able to add to their payroll even better players, or not better players than Ohtani, but players up to his caliber and outbid everybody for talent on top of the fact that they do a lot of things well. And I think a lot of fans are sick of it. And I think the owners understand that if this continues, guess what's going to happen in the long run? People are going to stop watching because they're going to go, what's the point? I saw somebody in the YouTube chat go tell about the player's perspective. Like, yeah, I get you want to play money, but what's the point of going to work every day when you know you're never going to win? What kind of life is that? They don't care to an extent. I mean, at the end of the day, you have to think about it from a life perspective. I got all this money. It's kind of great.
I think it's kind of a knock-on effect. The Dodgers are definitely responsible. But the Dodgers are responsible. The owners have wanted a salary cap for years. But what the Dodgers have done has gotten the fans to agree that they need a salary cap,
Correct.
Which has now emboldened Major League Baseball to bring that topic back to the forefront. The owners have wanted it for years, but now they have public opinion on their side and feel comfortable that public opinion is strong enough for it to finally get implemented and get passed and force the Players Association into a spot where they are losing now with the court of public opinion. So now, but it was definitely the Dodgers that did it, but it was the Dodgers that didn't bring Major League Baseball around to it. It was the Dodgers that brought the fans around to it, which emboldened Major League Baseball to bring it back up.
Well, I also think that Major League Baseball understands the underlying terms of the future. If you continue to see the Dodgers spend more money and continue to win World Series almost every single year, people are going to do what?
Turn off.
They're going to stop watching. And if they stop watching, at the end of the day, it's all about who watches. It's like our industry. Regardless if you like us or hate us, you need to, we care that you listen to us. It's the same thing with baseball. They need people to watch their entertainment business. And if people get so fed up that they don't even want to watch anymore, that's not good for either side. I think the players miss that a lot because I do think there is a sense, and you see it in college now, that the players just assume that people are always going to watch them because it's always been the case their entire life. But that's not the case. They get paid because people watch. They get paid the amount of money that they get paid because people watch and they find it entertaining and it's worth spending money on. But if they don't feel like it's worth watching anymore, not only do the owners not make any money, the players aren't going to make as much money anymore. I mean, you're going to run into an NBA situation. People are tired of watching the Thunder like flop all over the place. And like you could say what you want about viewership. I think viewership's up in sports because of gambling.
Mm-hmm.
I really do. So if Major League Baseball saw this writing on the wall, I mean, they understand, and maybe the players will eventually understand, that if they continue to go down this path and get more negative publicity of, I can't watch because what's the point? Because we already know who's going to win. They don't make money. I mean, why do you think people always say no spoilers for things?
Mm-hmm.
If I told you the way a movie ended before it even came out to theaters, which is so archaic because nobody watches that anymore, goes to theaters anymore, would you spend the money to go watch that movie?
Mm-mm.
No, because you already know how it ends. Major League Baseball sees that writing on the wall, and they're trying to do something about that. And right now, the fans are on their side.
The best thing that happened to the Players Association's argument was the fact the World Series last year went down to extra innings in Game 7. If that doesn't happen, if the Dodgers walk through Toronto in 4 or 5 games, the Players Association has absolutely no leg to stand on. The fact that it went to 7 gave them a little bit of an argument.
When we come back, we'll get to our sports thread. We'll kind of transition into other sports. We will also dive into some Padres stuff in the noon hour. Just getting started here on the Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego's number one sports station, 97 through the Fan.
San Diego FC heads into the international break with more questions than answers. They just lost 4-2 to Vancouver, and honestly, it felt like watching the difference between a Finnish contender and a team that's still very much under construction. Vancouver punished every mistake. San Diego made too many of them again, and once again, another red card. That is now 9 red cards in the last 19 matches this season. At some point, it stops being bad luck and starts becoming a real problem. The frustrating part, the talent is obvious. David Vasquez keeps improving. Brian Zambelli is only 18 and is already producing. Anders Dreyer continues to carry the attack, but every week it feels like San Diego takes another step forward and then 2 steps backwards defensively. Now this season basically resets during the World Cup break, and the summer transfer window might determine whether or not this club makes a playoff push or stays stuck in development. San Diego's FC hit another wall this past weekend against the Vancouver Whitecaps. First half of the season is officially over, and honestly, the timing for the international break could not be any better. San Diego heads into the pause after a 4-2 loss to the Vancouver Whitecaps at Snapdragon Stadium on Saturday, dropping them to 4-5-6 on the season with just 17 points, a far cry from where this team was last year. Vancouver showed up this past weekend. This match felt like a reminder about where these two clubs stand. Vancouver still looks like the contender that knocked San Diego FC out of the Western Conference Final last year, and San Diego FC looks like a team that is trying to figure itself out. The Whitecaps controlled possession early, punished mistakes, and capitalized every time San Diego FC lost focus defensively. Veteran striker Brian White scored twice in the first half, while legendary German star Thomas Muller showed exactly why Vancouver brought him in. His movement, his vision, his calmness completely changed the game. Meanwhile, San Diego kept doing what has haunted them all season: turnovers in dangerous spots, defensive breakdowns, and costly disciplinary issues. The red card problem is officially a crisis. Yet again, another red card, this time Luca Bombino, was sent off in the 72nd minute after picking up his second yellow card. Now that makes it 9 red cards in 19 matches, and roughly 240 minutes have been played down a man this season. That is quite a lot, and it is not sustainable. Coach Mikey Varas did not hold back afterwards, either openly questioning MLS officiating and saying the league needs to, quote, take a serious look at how often teams are playing shorthanded. So it wasn't just him griping about San Diego FC's issue. It's about the officiating crews in the MLS in general and how many red cards are handed out to teams in the MLS. Now, some of the calls have been soft, but at a certain point, San Diego also has to look at themselves internally. You cannot constantly put yourself in vulnerable positions and expect positive results. Now, the bright spots do still exist, even though this rough stretch, the young core continues to keep flashing serious promise. David Vasquez scored again and continued developing into a legitimate attacking piece. 18-year-old Brian Zembele scored late in stoppage time, and Anders Dreyer added 2 more assists, bringing his season total up to 9. Dreyer continues to be the engine of this club offensively, and honestly, that's what makes this season so difficult to evaluate, because the talent is there. The talent is obvious. The attack is dangerous, but the mistakes, especially on the defensive end, continue to wipe out the entirety of the progress. So now the bigger picture is, this doesn't feel like a bad team. This still feels like a very good team. It also feels unfinished. San Diego FC has now just won 1 of its last 13 matches, and they've dropped completely out of the playoff picture heading into the summer break. But at the same time, they continue creating chances, they continue developing young players, and they continue competing against good teams for stretches. The problem is consistency. Elite teams punish mistakes. That's exactly what Vancouver did, and that's exactly what San Diego FC did last year, that they are not doing this year. So what comes next now with the MLS? The most important stretch of the season, and maybe the most important stretch in the club history after last year's playoff run, because the summer transfer window is coming, and San Diego is in desperate need of reinforcements. They need more experience. They need more composure, possibly another defender, maybe a veteran finisher. This club has invested heavily in youth and development, but now comes the question, do they push the chips in to compete now, or do they stay patient with the long-term project? And that is the balance that Tyler Heaps, Mikey Varas, and the front office are going to have to figure out in the next month. The MLS is now officially done for the next month and a half or so. As the World Cup kicks into gear, a lot of players are going to their international clubs. You're going to be seeing a lot more on the international side of things as the World Cup starts to ramp up. And speaking of which, there are going to be games that are played here in San Diego. Switzerland will play Australia on June 6th, and Colombia will play Jordan on June 7th. So back-to-back days, big international soccer matches coming.
Broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios, we know how. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Talking a lot of labor negotiations today. We'll dive back into Padres baseball here in the next hour. Bud Black was on with Ben and Woods as part of the manager's report. He's got some interesting things to say about Ethan Salas that we're going to get to in the noon hour. We also do want to get your phone calls today, 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. Talked a lot about the labor negotiations. We're going to get to the sports thread in just a second, but we do want to duck in one quick phone call. Anthony and Rancho Bernardo, you're on the Braden Surprenant Show. What's going on, Anthony?
Hey, not much, Braden. I haven't really been able to listen the last couple of days, but what's going on out there? I mean, does it look like the Players Association is, likes this deal, this offer? Because I was running the numbers, and I'm unless I'm doing something wrong, if the 170 is the floor and 270, let's just assume the top 15 teams, which I don't think would be an issue. Most of them would be at that 270. Obviously, the Dodgers, Mets, Yankees, and all the big clubs will. And then you got a lot of teams will be 250, 260. But I'm seeing like $1 billion increase in payroll And let's just going off 2025 because of that extra 70, 80, 90 million all the lower teams have to spend. Is that pretty accurate?
Well, there's a couple of things that are also implemented in there, Anthony. I appreciate the phone call. So the benefits of these players count during that as well. So they actually, like with the current proposal, which I think is going to get changed, I think the players overall, if they get all the teams compliant to just league minimum and then get the teams at the top underneath the salary cap, I think they lose out on like $200 million or 20. It's like a very minuscule amount of money. I think it's like $50 million to $100 million on that chart. I can't remember off the top of my head.
The chart that I sent you this morning, I think it was 17 million.
17 million. So they like theoretically would lose $17 million. I think it's close, but I think there needs to be, the players are going to want to get that salary cap higher. They're going to want to get the floor probably higher too. I mean, they're going to try to find their way to get as much money as possible, and knowing that it might be a salary cap in order to play. And I think, and Bill Shaikin brought it up. It's like, who's got the leverage in this? I think the owners have the leverage because they have the fan appeal on it. But I think like Major League Baseball, they're not going to get the TV money, which is obviously important, but the stadiums that they own, the ones that own them, they can fill the stadiums during the summertime with stuff. I mean, I don't think that's going to be a problem. The players can't necessarily continue to keep going for a long period of time. I mean, they're going to run out of money. And it sounds like a lot of organizations have built a war chest to make it through a lot of games potentially being missed. I honestly don't think the players have that much leverage in this particular negotiations. But I appreciate the phone call, Anthony. Thank you very much for tuning in, and we appreciate it. We have a couple of minutes. I will not rant too much on some of these things, but let's get to today's sports thread.
You know that group chat, the one that's always blowing up with the biggest sports takes, debates, and breaking news?
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me?
Yeah, we've got that too. Welcome to the Sports Thread, where we break down the top 5 stories in sports, just like you would with your crew.
Oh, no! Disaster! What a bad idea!
No filters, no silence, just real talk.
All right, Frank, what we got going today?
Oh, you're going to have some fun with this one.
Number 1.
You're going to have a lot of fun with this one. Kirby Smart turned heads at the SEC spring meetings by openly supporting the idea of the SEC potentially breaking away from the NCAA if college sports can't establish consistent rules around NIL, spending, and playoff expansion. Smart echoed comments from Jerry Moorhead, saying the SEC may eventually need to operate under its own structure if legal challenges and conference disagreements continue to block reform. The comments came amid growing tensions of whether college football will expand the playoffs to 16 or 24 teams, with the SEC currently resisting the 24-team model favored by other major conferences. While no split appears imminent, the idea that the SEC is becoming its own power structure is no longer just a hypothetical conversation. Would an SEC breakaway actually improve college football, or would it permanently damage it? Damage the idea of a true national champion?
Go ahead, leave, see what it does for you. You're basically signing up to be the UFL.
Yeah.
That's what you're signing up to be. I mean, the UFL has better players than college. They're professional players. They were all stud players in college. Nobody watches the UFL. It's the same thing with the G League. Nobody watches the G League. G League's got a ton of talented players. There are better teams in the G League than in college basketball. But why do people watch college basketball or the G League? They have something to relate to. So outside of the southeast of the United States, is anybody going to care that they're gone?
No.
I'm not going to care. Are you going to only watch SEC football? Is that what it is?
You know what? I actually will, because that means more room in the playoff for the Power Act 12, more room in the playoff for the Mountain West. So, yeah, I will care. Go. Get out of here.
I think the SEC is so arrogant, it's blinding them from the realities of this situation. Go ahead. Leave. See what happens.
Okay, bye.
Don't let the door hit you on the ass on the way out.
Number 2.
The New York Knicks suffered a potentially major setback ahead of the NBA Finals as center Mitchell Robinson reportedly broke his right pinky during the team's playoff run. Robinson has been a key part of the Knicks' interior defense and rebounding rotation throughout the postseason, especially as a physical backup behind Karl Anthony Towns. While there's no current timetable for his return, the injury creates immediate concerns about the Knicks' front court depth just days before the franchise's first NBA Finals appearance since 1999. How much could Mitchell Robinson's injury impact the Knicks' championship chances, especially against a physical team like Oklahoma City or San Antonio?
I think that's going to be a problem for the Knicks. I really do. I think that, well, first of all, the Western Conference is already a lot more physical than the Eastern Conference. And in order for the Knicks to potentially win the finals, I think they've got to be at full strength as close as possible. And so I think it's a big blow for the Knicks.
Yeah, it's certainly not great. And they said he broke it sometime during the playoffs. So he might have been playing with it, which if that's the case, I would take a bent finger for a little while for an NBA championship.
Right.
So it doesn't specify when he broke it. So he might have played the entire last series with it. Who knows?
Game 7 coming up tomorrow.
Yes,
5
sir.
o'clock.
Number 3.
Well, we kind of already touched on the Sacramento baseball thing, which was next. So we'll go to this one. Joey McGuire publicly backed quarterback Brendan Sorsby on Wednesday, saying the Texas Tech University transfer has returned home after treatment for gambling addiction after, 2 weeks, and deserves a second chance to play college football. Sorsby was ruled permanently ineligible by the NCAA after admitting that he bet on Indiana football games while on the team in 2022, along with numerous other wagers tied to his addiction. Texas Tech officials continued to appeal the NCAA's ruling, while Sorsby also pursues a lawsuit seeking immediate eligibility. McGuire acknowledged that there should be consequences for Sorsby's actions, but argued ending his career entirely would be excessive, especially after the quarterback sought treatment and accepted responsibility for his behavior. Should the NCAA treat gambling addiction cases differently from intentional game fixing or corruption cases when deciding player eligibility?
Wouldn't it be worse if the guy had a gambling addiction?
Yeah, it would
to let him play?
Yeah, it kind of would be.
Wouldn't that be worse?
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, Frank, somebody texted me this idea yesterday. What if you made everybody in college athletics have to bet some of their NIL on themselves every game? If we're going to gamble, why don't we gamble? Why don't we have every team put a pot together?
Have some fun, boys.
And then you go 50-50 on the game. I bet you they'd be playing their ass off even more than they already do. You know what? Little game for cash every single time, except you got to front the bill. What do you think about that, Frank? I mean, they do that in you can play that in adult softball. I mean, they got rid of some of those because the pools that have put it on wanted to keep all the money. But, I mean, I've played in softball tournaments where your entry fee goes to the pot. You did 50-50 with the organization running it. And if you win cash. Why not do that with this? Hey, you want to gamble? All right, cool. It's legal now. Let's front some of the NIL. Everybody's got to bet on themselves.
There should be punishments for Sorsby. This is the punishment for Sorsby.
He has to bet on every Texas Tech game next year. His own NIL. See how he wins it. Come on. Put in the rules. Don't gamble if you're an athlete.
San Diego, it's time to fire it up. From the beaches to the ballparks, from the Gaslamp to North County, no one knows America's finest city like he does.
You can't just punt on a Manny Machado prime use.
He's a fourth-generation San Diegan, born and raised in the heart of this community. Passionate, opinionated, and always bringing you the real talk on your teams, your city, and everything in between.
Braden totally knows his stuff. He's ready for the next step. That guy is good.
Live and local, it's the Braden Surprenant Show.
But I think Braden's one of the up-and-coming young stars in the media game in San Diego.
Now, here's your host, Braden Surprenant.
New lunchtime hour on the Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. Setting us over at Sports Station 97.3, The Fan. We're going to take a pause on the labor negotiations. We spent enough time on that today, and we'll talk more about Padres baseball as they get ready for the Nationals coming up this weekend. Should be a fun series. Nationals red hot right now, swinging the bats really well. The downside is their pitching is not very good. Maybe something the Padres can capitalize on. Maybe this is something the Padres need to get the bats going. I don't know what's more labor intensive, the negotiations for this collective bargaining agreement, Frank, or us having to talk about the Padres offense.
It's definitely the latter.
It's definitely the latter.
Definitely.
That was the best part about the labor stuff coming out yesterday. Could pause on the Padres conversation about their offense, or should I say lack thereof. Got some college football stuff to talk about in the 1 o'clock hour. Fun stuff. All right. Earlier today, Bennett Woods had the manager's report. It is a Friar Friday. And the manager's report, which is usually with Craig Stammen, is brought to you by SDCCU. It's not Big Bank Banking. It's better. It alternates. He's on every other week. And in between, they have members of the front office. And today, Bennett Woods had Buddy Black on to discuss a handful of things and pick his brain on experience as a manager. And the first thing asked of Buddy Black, managing an offense as a former pitcher, something obviously that Craig Stammen is doing right now.
Well, guys, and ultimately the players will say the same thing. The coaches are there for, a lot of different things, right? They're technicians, they're attitude coaches, they're there to work with the players as far as batting practice, throwing, flipping, tee work, mechanics, video, all of it. And they put in a ton of time, but ultimately, the player will tell you that, hey, it's on me that I'm not hitting, or I'm not, getting the job done, for our team offense. But again, the only thing that, from the broad picture, and we've heard 1,000 times, I mean, hitting a lot of times is contagious team wide. And it seems like, and this has been a prolonged thing for, the greater part of the season. There's been some stretches where, we've put some great at-bats together. We've put innings together. We've definitely had some huge clutch hits and huge clutch homers. On balance, it's been, sort of throughout the whole team. And I've said this, repeatedly, even in my years managing, that, for an offense to go, the 9 guys that are in the lineup that day, 6 guys have to be going pretty well, and you can cover the 3 guys who are not. But, we sort of have that inverse now where, we have maybe, 3 guys swinging the bat pretty well and 6 guys who are sort of scuffling. So, and that can turn. And the question is, Buddy, when is it going to turn? I can't tell you. And Craig couldn't tell you, and Steven couldn't tell you, and the hitting group couldn't tell you, when it's all going to turn. But ultimately, there's going to be a time, and hopefully it's long lasting, where, we have, 6 guys out of our 9, swinging the bat great. And when that happens, we're going to score a ton of runs.
Bud Black, been around this game for a long time. He said, this is a lot of stuff that people like. Fans don't want to hear this ever. They don't. They don't want to say. They don't want to wait. They want to be patient. I don't want to wait. I don't want to be patient. I want the offense to just dominate every single day. But it takes time. Hitting's contagious, and I think it's a lot of good conversation by Bud Black in this particular instance. The other thing that they asked Buddy Black about, as Frank is flipping us over to college baseball, Tennessee, East Carolina, extra innings in the 11th. Got some great games going on in college baseball that started the NCAA tournament. The road to Omaha has gotten underway. Well, it started in February, but you know how it is. You know how it is. College baseball in full force this week, and unfortunately, none of our teams made the NCAA tournament, which is fine. But I did see there's some pretty big scores going on in college baseball today. Some interesting scores. Milwaukee took in a 10-0 lead on Auburn early in the game. It's now 11-5 Milwaukee in the bottom of the sixth inning in the Auburn Regional. That'd be a heck of a 4-1 upset, if you will. We'll keep you posted on some of the scores throughout the rest of the day, but fun to have some college baseball on. All right. Let's get to the other part for Bud Black. Obviously, the superstars are slumping. Buddy Black has had to deal with some superstars in his tenure as manager of the Rockies and the Padres, everything like that. How would he manage a slumping superstar?
About knowing the personality of the player. And again, our coaches and Craig, who've been around these guys for a while, know how Fernando's wired and what he needs. But I think, for the most part, every player wants support and every player wants, the arm put around them. But as you also know, there's a time when, you got to kick a guy in the pants and wake him up. And with Fernando, I'm not sure, exactly how, it's going about it with him, but nobody feels it more than him. Right. Because he's got a ton of pride and he knows he's a great player. And you're right, pressure does mount as far as, especially the power numbers. He's getting his hits, but the slugging percentage is not where, it's typical Fernando Tatis Jr. numbers. So, it's in there. And I think with Fernando, it's probably equal combination, his swing and the confidence, right? Because, the number of balls that he's putting on the ground is not, normal for him. So, I think the continued work to get the swing right along with, balls in the gap or balls over the fence will help the confidence.
I think so too. I think that's where, and I know, Frank, that we're tired of saying you got to be patient. I think fans are tired of being impatient, but they have to be able to swing their way out of this problem. That's exactly what Bud Black's been saying in the last two clips we played.
Yeah, and again, it's you're talking about players who have earned the right to do it. We're not sitting here talking about having Jake Cronenworth have the right to swing himself out of it. We're not talking about Miguel Andujar or Sungmoon Sung trying to swing out of an issue. We're talking about the stars of the team, the guys who play every single day. So, it's just, that's what you have to do. You got to wait for them to figure it out. Something's got to click.
The last thing that was asked to Bud Black is, of course, we're having a little bit more juice to the Ethan Salas conversation because he is starting to put together a really good year down in AA. And with, the catching situation going back to a struggle in terms of the offense, especially with Luis Camposano out, I think a lot of people are starting to look down at AA and going, oh, well, this guy's starting to hit a little bit down there. I know he's playing above where he's supposed to be and all this other stuff. And he's coming off of an injury from last year. Maybe got to see him get some success for the first time. But looking at it, he might be worth a call-up. What did Bud Black say about Ethan Salas?
Yeah, well, first off, he's in a really good spot, guys. He's playing great. I saw him 3 weeks ago in San Antonio where he hit his first home run of the season. He had a great series that I saw, hits, doubles. He caught well, confidence and healthy, which is the most important thing. The back is feeling great. His body's in a good spot, and he's, the all around player is showing up. So, keeping him there with our manager, who's the next catcher, is a veteran baseball guy, Chris Tremi, has been a really good thing for Ethan. The pitfalls of moving him to AAA. It's something that we're talking about at some point this year to challenge him there in that environment. The next step to the big leagues. The thing you worry about a little bit is it too much for him in the real big picture, right? Mentally, the pressure he might put on himself to perform, but you think about all those things. But one day he's going to get to the big leagues and he's going to catch for us. The critical point is, does he have all facets of the game covered? Can he handle the 7th, 8th, and 9th innings of a close game on the road with pitch calling and blocking pitches and receiving? The hitting part, I think, is the thing we worry about the least when he comes to the big leagues. It's more of, handling the pitching staff, handling the expectation that everybody has on him, and even, he might put on himself. So, the defensive side is what we're concerned about, but he's doing really well, guys, and I'm excited for all of us and for him, moving forward. But to say it's not being discussed at some point, just at least moving up a level, is it's on the front burner for sure.
That's an interesting part of that. Is that there's two things that I found interesting there. One, it's on the front burner that Ethan Salas they're discussing about him moving him up. Not to the big leagues at least, but, to a point of maybe we should try him out in AAA. I think that's interesting. The other part I found interesting, and this is a very, I find this to be interesting, Frank. I don't know if you do, but it wasn't the offense that they were waiting for. It was more of the defense and the receiving and everything like that, which is something that we have been told has been his most elite ability, and he is well beyond his years when it comes to catching, receiving, calling pitches. And we have also heard reports that he's ready for that at the next level, up until the major league level. So it's interesting that Bud Black has said, well, we're waiting for the defense a little bit. The hitting will come eventually. I found that to be a little fascinating, that is maybe something that the Padres are waiting for. So obviously that tells you just how much more development you want to see out of young catching prospects, and probably why they take a little bit more time than all the other position player prospects.
Yeah, there's a lot more on a catcher. There's calling the game. There's, again, as you said, handling your starting rotation, being able to change on the fly and trying to help your pitcher out in every way that you possibly can. Now, it could just be relationships that they're looking at. Can he develop those relationships? Maybe give him another year in spring training to develop those relationships with Nick Pivetta or Michael King or whatever. They could also be looking at how he, one, receives the information that he's getting from scouting reports, how he interprets it himself, and then how he relays it to his starting pitcher, not just by talking, but also in game situations, and how he relies on the information that he's been given and how he relays it to the pitcher mid at bat, how he relays it in his pitch calling, his location calls. So there's a lot of things that go into being a catcher that you don't necessarily have to worry about being a right fielder or a shortstop or whoever. So you want to make sure he's got all of those down, and pitchers handle it different ways at all of the different levels, depending upon whether or not they've been there, whether or not they have an opportunity to get there or not. So yeah, I want to see, especially because a catcher and the way a catcher calls the game, that has a lot to do with that walk strikeout ratio that we talk about in high altitude areas. So if Salas comes in to AAA and all of a sudden you start to see the strikeout to walk ratio start to drop for all of the pitchers at El Paso, then yeah, that's a big thing to look at as far as, okay, he's understanding it, he's relaying it, and he's also able to adapt two pitchers when they don't have something working that day. He's able to still stick with the game plan, but also mold it in real time to fit what his pitcher has that day.
A lot of the points that Bud Black brought up was like situational stuff that I don't think you can really replicate in the minor leagues in general. He's like being on the road and like late in the season and late gaining games, and like there's not a lot of that you can potentially replicate that you can't really get reps on unless you are at the major league level. Is my viewpoint of this.
He also hasn't played a full season in the minors.
Well, the other thing too is
hurt.
Right. Well, he got hurt last year, and then he's had a couple of injuries. I also think that they want to see him have success for a longer period of time. It's usually like guys have a lot of success. How do they handle adversity before we can bring him up? This kid's handled a lot of adversity. It's like, all right, well, let's just have him have a lot of success, maybe in Double-A. I also think, though, as soon as they make the move to bring Ethan Salas up to Triple-A, I don't think it's going to be very long before he's in the big leagues. They do that a lot with a lot of players.
Yeah.
Like they moved Jackson Merrill to Double-A. He wasn't in Double-A very long before he got moved up to the big leagues. I could see a situation where he gets moved up to Triple-A in September, or like whatever the end of the season is. I don't know the minor league season at the top of my head. But like at the end of the year, I bet you see him in El Paso, and then he's in big league camp in spring training. And that's his tryout to make the team. And it's going to be one of those situations like they did with Fernando and they did with Jackson Merrill, where the players are around him and they almost have to tell, like, we have to have this guy on the team. Like, that's how I see this potentially playing out. And I'm looking at the Chihuahua schedule now, because like some of the teams are done by September, some of them are not. I can't remember off the top of my head, because the minor league season's different than the major league season, obviously. But yeah, I can see Ethan Salas getting, if these, if they don't trade him, which I don't think they will, I could see September 1st against the Vegas Aviators, and sure, maybe they'll pull him up sooner. I could see him playing the last month of the year in El Paso, and then he gets an invite to big league camp. That's where I see this is at, because I don't think he's going to be
most likely,
because he's moving along quickly now, obviously, but also at the same time, like I don't think he could be playing in the big leagues at the end of the year. It's as much as I've talked about, it'd be cool to see him there. At this point, I think you have to wait for Camposano to come back and then figure out your catching situation. And I've seen some of the trade rumors, or like people suggesting the Padres go get another catcher. I mean, how many catchers are you going to acquire? Hoping that the offense sticks. But I think it's an interesting topic for Ethan Salas. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. We have fair tickets to give away later on in this hour. We'll talk a little bit more about the trade deadline when we come back. And an interesting piece from Buster Only on, pardon the interruption, said, look out for the Padres for this individual player. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Las Vegas Golden Knights are now only one win away from sweeping the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Final, and honestly, no one saw this coming. Vegas came back from a 3-0 deficit in Game 3 to win 5-3, and now leads the series 3-0 against the President's Trophy winners. The Golden Knights have completely shut down Colorado's speed, block shots everywhere, and gotten huge performances from Carter Hart, Jack Eichel, Thomas Hertl, and even Dylan Coughlin, who spent most of the season in the AHL. Meanwhile, the Avalanche subtly look rattled. Cale Makar's injury has exposed their defense. Nathan McKinnon might not fully be healthy, and Colorado is now on the verge of one of the most shocking eliminations in the playoffs. And out east, Montreal and Carolina are locked in a battle after Nikolai Ehlers scored the overtime winner in Game 2. The Stanley Cup Finals just keep getting crazier. The Stanley Cup playoffs have officially gone off the rails, but in the best possible way, as the Vegas Golden Knights are now one win away from sweeping the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche, and the Montreal Canadiens continue improving their continue proving that they are fearless on the road. The Carolina Hurricanes may have found the missing piece they needed for years in Nikolai Ehlers and a reborn Taylor Hall. And somehow, the biggest surprise in hockey right now might just be John Tortorella's Vegas Golden Knights. I don't think anyone truly expected this. The Vegas Golden Knights are up 3-0 on the Colorado Avalanche in the Western Conference Final after yet another unbelievable comeback win on Sunday night. Vegas erased a 3-0 first period deficit to beat Carolina 5-3 and now sits 1 win away from another Stanley Cup final appearance. This series has completely flipped because Vegas has done something almost no other team has been able to do against Colorado, which is they've neutralized their speed. The Vegas Golden Knights are blocking shots, finishing checks, clogging the neutral zone, and forcing the Avalanche into mistakes, and it's working. Head coach John Tortorella said after game 3, quote, "This is a game where we showed some balls." And honestly, he's not wrong. Vegas looks tougher mentally right now. The crazy part is it hasn't just been the superstars carrying Vegas either. You've got defenseman Dylan Coughlin scoring his first playoff goal after spending most of the season in the AHL. You've got Carter Hart standing on his head. You've got Thomas Hertl scoring the game winner in game 3. And there's Jack Eichel finally breaking through offensively in game 2 before setting up the go-ahead goal. Vegas suddenly looks deeper and a more composed team, even without Captain Mark Stone for part of this series. They are still finding ways to win. So the big question now is, what's the problem with the Avalanche? Now the pressure is completely on Colorado, and honestly, the absence of Cale Makar early in this series exposed how important he is to everything that they do. The defensive pairing looked disorganized, the puck movement wasn't clean, and the Avalanche keep hurting themselves with turnovers and missed assignments. Even Nathan McKinnon admitted after game 1 saying, quote, "Colorado did a lot of damage to ourselves." And now there's concern McKinnon might not even be fully healthy after taking a puck off the knee in game 3. And that is terrifying if you're a Colorado Avalanche fan, because this team entered the playoffs looking like the clear Stanley Cup favorites. And now they're on the verge of getting nipped by the President's Trophy curse, getting swept out of the Western Conference Final. On the East side, the Montreal Canadiens continue to prove that this playoff run is absolutely real. The Canadiens are now 7-2 on the road this postseason and already stole game 1 in Colorado by blasting the Hurricanes 6-1, their first loss of this postseason. This young team does not look intimidated at all. They play fast, they attack in transition, and they are constantly pressurizing defenses with speed. Coach Marty St. Louis deserves a ton of credit because this team is bullying into its identity, is buying into its identity completely and bullying other teams into playing their style of play. But Carolina answered back in game 2 thanks to the offensive addition of Nikolai Ehlers. Ehlers scored twice, including the overtime winner, to even the series at a game apiece. And now this Eastern Conference Final suddenly feels wide open. We've seen throughout sports history, it's very, very difficult to do in the NHL, but a 3-0 deficit is not entirely impossible to overcome. That being said, I don't think the Las Vegas Golden Knights are going to be giving up that lead, giving up that advantage anytime soon. They know what it's like to play in the playoffs. They've played in the Stanley Cup Finals before. They've won the Stanley Cup Finals before in their very, very brief history as a franchise. This is a championship team built on championship pedigree. I feel as though they are going to comfortably cover the Colorado Avalanche. Colorado may get a game, possibly 2, but it is not going to go the full 7 and give Carolina a chance.
Got some college baseball on today. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. We're broadcasting live from the Bill House Studios. We know how. Tennessee and East Carolina tied at 2 in the top of the 12th inning. That's got to be great if you're North Carolina. as the number 1 seed as a regional host. Like, oh yeah, keep just burn all your pitching. Just keep burning all your pitching. Whoever wins this game. It's been a pretty good game so far. That's one of the scores going on right now in college baseball. Kentucky is up on Wake Forest 6-5. They are in the top of the 9th. They're going to go to the bottom of the 9th inning and see if Wake Forest could try to walk things off. Or did that game go final?
Yeah.
All right. That game's gone final then. On the score sheet, they said they're still playing. Little Rock and Southern Miss are tied at 3 in the bottom of the 8th. Florida's up on Ryder 4-0 in the top of the 8th. Kansas trying to hold off Northeastern as the regional host in the Lawrence Regional. They're up 4-3, bottom 7. Texas all over Holy Cross 12-0 in the bottom of the 6th. Milwaukee, kind of a stunner so far. They're up 11-5 on the regional host site Auburn in the bottom of the 6th inning. Milwaukee jumped out to a 10-0 lead. They now lead at 11-5. Who knows if that's enough to hold off the Auburn Tigers. Mississippi State over Lipscomb 3-0 in the top of the 6th. South Carolina upstate leads Oklahoma State 5-4 at the top of the 4th inning. And just getting underway out here on the West Coast, Oregon State and Washington State are scoreless in the top of the 2nd. And UCLA and St. Mary's are scoreless also in the top of the 2nd inning. That's your college baseball regional update, if you will. Regionals have started today. We have some interesting news again, and it keeps circling out there when it comes to the trade deadline. I mean, we're now in the early trade deadline rumor mill season as we get into June and July and start to hear what teams are looking for, what they're interested in. But an interesting nugget from Buster Only about the San Diego Padres. He was on Pardon the Interruption yesterday. Here's what Buster had to say about who might be a surprise team in a certain sweepstakes.
Tarek Skubal will throw another simulated game on Monday. Do you believe that the Tigers will trade Skubal?
Yeah, Tony, unless they bounce back in a big way, because they have been playing terribly, he will be traded before the trade deadline. Scott Harris, the head of baseball operations for the Tigers, is viewed by his peers as being objective. In other words, he's not going to go for a Hail Mary if the Tigers are way behind. And yes, Tarek Skubal, who's going to be a free agent in the fall, would bring back a ton of value. And if he is traded, pay attention to some of the usual suspects, teams like the Dodgers, like the Phillies. I think the San Diego Padres will be an interesting team to watch because obviously Skubal could be a difference maker for that rotation.
Interesting. Is that going to cost you Ethan Salas? Who knows? It's a rental. Where there's smoke, there's fire, Frank. How many times have we already started to hear this?
Yeah, it's usually
about the Padres and about Tarek Skubal. Be interesting. Don't get anybody's hopes up just in case you get a Ken Rosenthal update that the Padres have acquired Trey Turner and Max Scherzer. That started the beginning of the end for everybody's favorite journalist here in town. There it is. Honestly, I don't think you can rule any player out or any big trade out when the Padres have AJ Preller in charge of their team. I don't feel like you can. At this point, it's not surprising to me that one of the probably the number one player on the trade market, the Padres are a team to look for. And I'd be curious to see how they're able to pull it off, because every year I'm told that the Padres have nothing in their farm system to be able to make trades, yet they continue to make trades all the time at the trade deadline for star players, literally all the time. And I'm one of the believers in, and I will continue to say it, until they become major league talent, they're still just prospects. And I don't think trading for prospects is ever a recipe for success. I think you could get lucky on some of them. I think you could take some chances maybe when you need to try to stockpile prospects that have hopefully one of them pan out. But I think the benefit for most teams that make trades at the deadline are teams that end up acquiring the star. It's very few and far between where the organization that acquired a bunch of prospects ends up making out with the most. It happens, but I think it's a more rare occurrence. I'd be interested to see how this plays out. I mean, the Padres at this point, they've been linked to Tarek Skubal and then a lot of bullpen help. And the thing that they need the most right now is is offense. And I think it goes back to what Tony Gwynn said a week ago today on Gwynn and Chris about the guys in your team that you need to perform are not performing. And you can't, the guys that are performing are the ones that you would be able to replace on the trade market. That's why I'm not surprised that the Padres haven't really been linked to any type of offensive change. But I will say this. With the way the Nationals have continued to just part ways with most of their players, would it be something that the Padres traded for CJ Abrams? At the deadline, he could play second base?
Because we lost the CJ Abrams trade then.
You know what? That's fine. Can you lose the Soto trade if you ended up with some of the players that you ended up trading away?
That's why I'm saying it'll.
I know. I'm talking about something different.
Oh no, it's over. No, that's over from there.
Then you would automatically win if you acquired the centerpiece that was still there.
Yeah, more or less.
I find it interesting because he was on the trade block during the offseason. And I'm sure now he would cost you a lot more because he's playing out of his mind. He's hitting 294. He's got 12 home runs, 47 RBIs, right? And the Nationals have a couple years of control with him.
I would say if you get Abrams, say goodbye to Skubal. You're getting one of the two. You're not getting both. That would be my instant guess.
Oh, you're telling me that they couldn't get Skubal, Aroldis Chapman, and Josh Hader and CJ Abrams?
No.
Why not? Why can't they just acquire all those players?
Realism.
Of course they wouldn't get one. They would only get one or the other. And they're going to get all those players, Frank, and then they're going to part ways with Wandy Peralta, Yuki Matsui, Jake Cronenworth, and they're going to keep Ethan Salas, and everything's going to be good.
Yep, that's how that works.
That's how that works.
For the person in the chat that I'm sure we just discouraged from typing something like that in.
Hey, man, I did it on MLB The Show. I did that on MLB The Show. What do you mean it doesn't work?
That's cool.
Cool, man. CJ Abrams is under control through 2029. He's going to cost a lot more for sure. But I think it's interesting to see where the Nationals are at and what their plan of attack is. Like, are they going to re-sign CJ Abrams? They didn't re-sign Mackenzie Gore. Is James Wood the guy they're going to build a team around? I mean, CJ Abrams, 25, going to be 26 next year. You would think they would give him a contract, but right now they're not giving anybody contracts. I just find it interesting. Could you, and now maybe this is a question we answer on the other side, because this is the question that I thought of yesterday on the roundtable that we didn't get to on yesterday's show. Would you be able to, what about parting ways with one of your good bullpen arms? Not to the Nationals, but to somebody else to get more talent to acquire CJ Abrams. Would you be willing to do that? I'll explain that more when we come back. We'll also get your phone calls, but we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the San Diego County Fair. We'll be doing that again in the 1:00 hour. But if you are the fourth caller, you'll be able to.
We only have one 4-pack to give away today.
We didn't give away a pair on Wednesday or Tuesday.
We did the Tuesday one, and we weren't on long enough to give one out on Wednesday.
But it was still on the sheet, wasn't it?
I just left it there because I knew it was going to be there the next day. We've given away 2 of the 3. We're only giving away 1 4-pack today.
We only have 3 to give away this week instead of 4. They didn't give us one for Wednesday.
No,
they didn't. Are you sure about that? They said once this week. I mean, even though our show wasn't long enough, they usually give us the 4-pack. If we had 4, we should have 4 this week.
I can only put in 1.
All right. Well, then we'll just give away 1. Be the 4th caller, and you'll win tickets to the fair. Fair starts June 10th through July 5th. Details at stfair.com.
Ben and Woods.
USD Toreros baseball may have missed the conference tournament, but they absolutely went down swinging. This couple of weekends ago was insane. Jaden Lobliner became just the second player in school history to hit for the cycle, finishing with 4 hits, 4 RBIs, and one of the loudest moments Fowler Park has seen in years. Then freshman Jaden Greer exploded, 2 home runs, 9 RBIs, including a go-ahead grand slam that completely changed Friday night's game. And then Saturday, more chaos, extra innings, 6 lead changes, and Lobliner walks it off in the 10th to complete a series sweep over LMU. The Toreros finished just a half game short of the West Coast Conference tournament. But if this final weekend showed anything, it's that the future of this lineup is dangerous. And San Diego baseball may be a lot closer to turning the corner than people think. Last week or 2 weeks ago for the San Diego Toreros, the story completely changed. After weeks of struggling to close games, San Diego baseball into the regular season with momentum, drama, history, and one of the most memorable offensive weekends Fowler Park has seen in years. From Jaden Lobliner hitting for the cycle to Jaden Greer exploding for 9 RBIs in a weekend to walk-off magic in the season finale, the Toreros didn't just finish strong. They reminded everyone how dangerous this lineup can be when it's rolling. And even though the season ended just short of the conference tournament, the final weekend may have changed the outlook of the program moving forward. Thursday night, a couple of weeks ago, belonged to Jaden Lobliner. The senior catcher delivered one of the greatest individual performances in program history, becoming just the second player in USD history to hit for the cycle and the first Torero to ever do it at Fowler Park. Lobliner finished 4 for 6 with 4 RBIs and 4 runs scored in a wild 17-8 win over LMU. He did everything: an RBI double in the first, a 2-run homer in the 5th, an RBI single in the 6th, and then the moment everybody will remember, a leadoff triple in the 8th to complete the cycle and send Fowler Park into a frenzy. It was one of those nights where you could feel the energy completely shift. And honestly, it felt fitting because Lobliner hasn't just been productive. He's been one of the faces of this program. He later capped the week by being named the West Coast Conference Defensive Player of the Year for the second straight season, becoming the first player in program history to win the award in back-to-back years. That's some legacy stuff for Jaden Lobliner. Jaden Greer breakout, offensive explosion. Lobliner wasn't the only star. Freshman Jaden Greer exploded this weekend and may have announced himself as one of the future cornerstones of the program. Greer hit for 2 home runs and his first 2 home runs of his college career against LMU over that weekend, including a massive go-ahead grand slam Friday that completely changed the game. He finished the weekend hitting .600 with 9 RBIs, 4 runs scored, 2 home runs, and earned both West Coast Conference Player of the Week and Freshman of the Week honors. That's not just a good weekend. That's a breakout moment for a young freshman player. And it wasn't just Greer. Andrew Ghana continued his dominant conference season, leading the West Coast Conference in batting average, while CJ Moran closed the year reaching base safely in 35 of his last 37 games. This offense became relentless later in the year. Then came Saturday, the season finale, and fittingly it ended with more Fowler magic. In a back-and-forth game featuring 6 lead changes, Lobliner delivered again, this time with a walk-off bloop single in the 10th to give San Diego a 9-8 win and a sweep over LMU. It was the Toreros' 4th walk-off win of the season and the perfect emotional ending to a roller coaster year. Now the reality is this: USD still finished just a half game short of the West Coast Conference tournament. That part hurts, especially with the expectations going into the season, because when you watch the way this team played offensively down the stretch, you can't help but think about missed opportunities earlier in the season. But at the same time, there's a lot to build on. On top of that, yet an MLB call-up over the weekend. There was even more big news for the program this week. Former Torero Bryson Motts earned his major league call-up with the St. Louis Cardinals and is now the 27th player in program history to reach the big leagues. Motts helped lead USD to its 2022 West Coast Conference title and became one of the best pitchers in program history before being drafted in the 2nd round by the St. Louis Cardinals. He's officially now a major leaguer. And moments like that matter for recruiting, for program reputation, and for proving what San Diego baseball can become, especially for a kid like Bryson Motts from Westview High School here in San Diego. Walk on at USD to being a phenom pitcher to being a major leaguer. That's a fun story to end the season on.
I'm glad they pointed that out. I said that we were like going to not talk about the CBA, but I just saw another take on the CBA. And it was like, it's not going to happen because it takes away the flexibility of free agency and it pushes players to markets many players don't want to play. It's not like Ohtani or Judge want to sign in Kansas City or Cleveland, even though those clubs will be forced to spend. Never going to happen. It literally proves my point. It's not about the money. It's about, I want to be able to play wherever I want to play for however much money I want to play for. And I want to have all the best players with me as possible.
Live response to that, by the way, just got this in.
Oh, no. Anyway.
Yeah. It's because, well, they don't want to play in the small market. So why would you force them to play in a small market? That's where the money is. Do you want to get, the players want their cake and they want to eat it too. And that they're not going to sacrifice on either side. And I know the owners aren't really sacrificing to an extent, but at the end of the day, you can't have free agents just go to 5 teams.
Let me ask you a question. Bless you. Let me ask you a question.
No, I'm not going to let you ask me a question. Just
if
kidding.
you're a Major League Baseball player, would you rather play in Minnesota? Or because you were on strike for so long and shut the league down, you have to instead play in Mexico City? Or
Play in
would
a
you
different league?
Or would you rather play in Korea or Japan, where you're guaranteed to not make nearly a fraction of the money you're making right now? Which one would you rather do?
Well, that's the extreme of down the road if they cannot get to agreement. But
Let's go Twins.
But here's the conversation though too. What a salary cap would do would be, okay, Juan Soto, do you want to be on a winning team or do you want to get paid a ton of money? Because there's going to be some winning teams that are going to offer you some different deals that might not be guaranteed, or maybe like more on a signing bonus or whatever. They're trying to finagle to get you on the roster. Like, let's just say the Mets, right? Let's just say the Mets are the team that's, the winning team, if you will. Because aside from, this
fantasy
year,
world for sure.
Aside from this year, though, Frank, the Mets have made the playoffs and they've been in the conversation. It's not like they've been awful.
They've made a World Series in every decade of their existence except the 90s.
In the last couple of years, they've been in the playoffs. They went to the NLCS in 2024. So let's not pretend just because they're not very good this year that they're not a team that's one of those teams that spends money to be competitive. So the question now for Juan Soto would have been, do you want to go to New York and make, let's say, $35 million a year, or do you want to go to Kansas City and make $50 million a year because they have more money and leeway where they can add their core star player? And that's going to be the decision that these players are going to make. What they're going to miss out on, the top 1% of these players, because that's who it really affects, is they're not going to be able to get all the money and be on a really good team, which is what is in place in the NFL and the NHL and the NBA and all the other the MLS and all the other professional sports leagues in the United States operate like this. The players have had it so good for so long on their side of these things that, of course, they don't want to give that up. Yeah, I'd love to be able to play in Los Angeles and make a ton of money and be surrounded by stars. Who wouldn't? But that's not necessarily realistic in terms of trying to keep the league competitive.
Would you want to go to Las Vegas?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Are you just asking personally if I'd like to go to Las Vegas?
Well, no, I'm saying because we have a chance to send someone to Las Vegas if they want to call in for the midday sports standoff.
Oh, yeah. I was going to punt on that today.
Oh, it's our Friday fun day, though.
Friday. Oh, yeah. We actually got a good question. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Trying to get a contestant for the midday sports standoff if you want to participate. Derek and La Mesa called in. Let's get to Derek first before we get to the midday sports standoff. If you could take me down in sports trivia, I'll tell you what you could potentially win. But Derek, what's going on? How's your Friday going?
Hey, what's going on, brother? Hey, thanks for bringing this back. I'm very passionate about this MLB thing. I was a victim of this. in the 94-95 strike. And if you'll allow me a little bit of latitude, I'll explain quickly. So I was the infamous player to be named later in a Red Sox Expos trade back in 94 into 95. I went to spring training with the Expos. Double A, again, for all you people in the chat, I was not a sure shot big leaguer. I was a long shot, whatever. I got traded from the Red Sox to the Expos. I was killing it in Double A, and then all of a sudden it got shut down. The minor league baseball players coordinator came out to our spring training and said, hey, if you guys are not willing to play in major league exhibition games, then you need to leave. I left along with about another 12 guys. So me and these other guys, we went and worked out at a junior college. 13 days later, the strike was over. We got brought back. And the very same day, I was released by the Expos. Now, no one would touch me after that because I said no to the owners. I was the guy on CNN whose car got filmed driving out of the Expos spring training facility. And it was a big news. That's great. My agent, who had told me, if you play in a game, I won't touch you. Our relationship is over. We're done. The Major League Baseball Players Association had a meeting in West Palm Beach, and basically guys like Ryan Klesko, who I think was still with the Braves at the time, in a room of 400 minor leaguers, told us, basically threatened us, you better not play in spring training games. So I didn't know what to do. So I left. I walked out of the Expo spring training facility and then got immediately released when I came back. And now no other team would touch me. Look, the Major League Baseball players, they don't care about minor league baseball players. They say they do. Oh, we care about these guys. We're in for the legacy. It's nonsense. They care about themselves. Good for you. That's great. The owners also don't care about their players. They're in the business of making money. So this isn't, I don't really care. I'm not on either side of the fence. Who cares? Big league baseball players are making a killing. The owners are making a killing. They're all in it for themselves, and it is what it is. I'm sorry, but I'll either watch big league games if they play on TV or I won't. I'm a bigger college football fan, so I'll watch football. But if you guys want to play these childish games about who makes more money, good for you. I don't think anybody cares. That's just my 2 cents. Thoughts?
Derek, I appreciate the phone call. I think you speak for a lot of people that did not play baseball about the fact that it's, again, like we said on the conversation before about the Players Association, that try to dangle and use guys like Derek as a pawn to get people to feel bad for them about how they're sticking up for the little guy. In reality, they're not. That's why at the center of this, Frank and I have already said it, whatever is better for the game of baseball, for me as a viewer, because here's the thing, and I agree with Derek, like from a fan perspective, I don't care about the players nor the owners. I care about myself. They care about themselves. I'm going to care about myself. And as a person that wants to consume the product, caring about myself, the product I want to see revolves around competitive balance. And like we said before, Frank, I don't care how much money they make. Whatever they want to decide on splitting the money is fine. I want to be able to see teams perform and work around a budget, and everybody plays by the same rules. And I think Derek brings up a good point. I mean, when this thing gets to a lockout, if and when, sounds like it's more of a matter of when, than if, the ones that are going to suffer the most are going to be the minor league guys and the guys making league minimum that can't sit out for a long period of time. And the guys like, he mentioned Klesko's name. I don't know for sure, and I don't want to put him on there.
Take his name
but players that are making money telling other players, you're going to sit this out so I can make more money. I can make more money. Like, for everybody that's stepping up for the players, that's who you're supporting as well. So for anybody that wants to view this from a virtuous, I want these guys to make more money, and you're thinking you're like helping out a union or helping out the little guy, there's really no little guy in this on either side. So it's better to just view it from a perspective of what is better for my viewing pleasure. And for me, Braden Surprenant, what's better for my viewing pleasure is to see everybody play by the same rules. We'll see how smart organizations are and not having stacked teams. That's kind of the takeaway I got from Derek's phone call there a little bit.
Yeah, and Derek, I know you're not necessarily looking for this, but I'm sorry that happened to you. But I mean, it's
going to happen to a lot of other players too. It sucks.
Yeah, that's an impossible situation. Now, I'm sure with the benefit of hindsight, him knowing what the deal is, I'm sure he would have told insert player name here that no, I'm gonna think of myself. I'm gonna play, and if you guys want to hit me because I crossed the picket line, then that's your prerogative. I'm gonna think of myself here, though. I just, again, that is an impossible situation when you're in your early 20s, living your dream, trying to make it in your dream, that now a lot of these young minor leaguers are going to be faced with. And it's the ugly side of it that I don't envy anyone. I don't envy anyone who's going to be put in that spot.
Right. And that's the thing. They're being used as pawns, and they're going to pretend like they care about those players. They don't. And that's why I care about myself in this particular situation. And to me, that's what I want to see as a baseball fan. What's Frank Marchese thinking about himself in this situation for? What are you looking for in this? Like, what do you want out of this labor negotiation that benefits you as a fan?
I want a better overall baseball product.
100%.
That's it. That's all I want.
We're the paying customers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the fans are the paying customers. It should be, at the end of the day, they got to be sitting there and thinking about their own interests before they start picking sides and trying to pick the most virtuous side. Start thinking about it for yourself. And for me, having a salary cap and a salary floor sounds good to me. I don't really care how much either side makes. They make way more than I do anyway.
I would also like some reparations for how much my heart has been torn out in some of these ballparks based on players making more money than they ever should be able to.
Nobody cares what you have to say. You're the little guy now.
Exactly.
That's what they just shoo away, fan. Just get shoo away. Shoot.
Exactly.
We don't want you to speak.
I want the Mets to pay me some money back.
Yeah, that's never going to happen. I don't know. They got a lot of money laying around, Frank. We'll get to the game when we come back. 1 o'clock, final hour of the Braden Surprenant Show on a Friday. San Diego Urban Sports Station, 97.3 The Fan. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. Shout out to Jake Waters' son, Lucas, in the YouTube chat. Feeling under the weather today. Hopefully feel better, dude. Thanks again for watching. Hopefully we make your day feel better.
Yeah.
Today. Hopefully you enjoy this game that we're about to play to start off the 1 o'clock hour. It's our midday sports standoff. If you call in and take me down in sports trivia for this month, you will be qualified for a shot at our grand prize, a $500 gift card to Westgate, Las Vegas, the home of legendary Vegas fun. Now offering the breakaway from fees package, including $75 daily dining credit, 2-day spa passes, daily cabaret tickets, complimentary valet parking, and 0 resort fees. Special rates starting at $89 a night. Book now at westgatelasvegas.com. Take it away, Frank.
Welcome to Midday Sports Standoff on the Braden Surprenant Show.
I can't believe what I'm seeing right now.
The ultimate head-to-head battle where sports knowledge and quick thinking collide.
No, he's no good. Are you kidding me?
Contestants will go toe-to-toe with Braden in a sports trivia deal where every correct answer brings them closer to victory.
Down the sideline! Wow! Unbelievable!
But 3 strikes and it's game over.
This is not Detroit, man. This is the Super Bowl.
Can you outsmart Braden? The Midday Sports Standoff starts now.
All right, Frank, who we got playing today?
We have Lewis and Eastlake playing today. Lewis, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Good,
Doing well.
good. All right. So again, it's our Friday Fun Day topic. According to the New York Pizza Department.com.
Why'd you say it like that?
Reasons. What are the top 10 pizza toppings in the United States? Top 10 pizza toppings in the United States as put together by New York Pizza Department.com. Lewis?
I didn't know that was a website.
Well, now you do.
That's amazing.
Lewis, you have the first guess.
I'm going to go with cheese.
Extra cheese is number 1. Correct. It's not number 1. Sorry, it's number 6. Number 6. It is on the list.
Extra
it is one of them.
cheese is on there.
It is on the list.
Let's go with pepperoni.
Pepperoni is number 1 on the list. Lewis?
I'm going to go with sausage.
Number 4 on the list.
All right, so we have
Pepperoni, sausage, and extra cheese.
So pep was 1.
Sausage is 4, extra cheese is 6.
What about onion?
Onion's number 3. Lewis?
I'm going to go olives, black olives.
Black olives are number 8.
Okay. So we have 5 off the list.
Yeah,
Pepperoni, onion, sausage, extra cheese, black olives. Sometimes they take this off. I don't know. What about bell peppers? Peppers.
Bell peppers, yes. They are on the list. They're number 7.
I'm going to go with classic mushrooms.
Number 2.
Really? That's like the one thing I want to take off. All right, now we're getting to the controversial pizza toppings. I'm going to take, I mean, this is so controversial. I feel like it would come in at number 10. But what about pineapple? It's terrible. That's terrible. That's right. That's terrible. That's right.
It's number 9 on the list. Lewis, we got 2 more. You answer this one correctly, you guarantee yourself a tie.
I'm going to take another risk here and go with onions.
Already said onions. Go ahead. You have another guess?
Bacon.
Canadian bacon or bacon?
It's just bacon. Number 5 on the list. Yes, it's
People put regular bacon.
It's number 5 on the list. So, Lewis, congratulations. You've guaranteed yourself a tie, which means you will be going to Las Vegas. We'll see if Braden
you have a chance to go to Las Vegas.
Yes, you will be entered for the chance to win to go to Las Vegas.
I'll take it better than I was this morning. So I'll take it. Thank you, guys.
Well, let's see. Let's see if you can win this one outright or if Braden will keep the tie.
What about meatballs? Really?
I was very disappointed in that one.
Yeah, because I'd rather have meatballs on my pizza than pineapple.
Lewis?
My next guess would be anchovies, but I was out of guesses.
Yeah, there's no way. That was the other controversial one I thought of.
Nope, anchovies is not on the list.
Ham?
Good on a Caesar salad, but not on a pizza, I guess, right?
No, ham, no. Again, it doesn't. We're at the point where it really doesn't matter. So
it's number 10. All right, give me a hint.
It is a popular Hispanic appetizer.
A popular Hispanic appetizer?
Guacamole?
No. No, it's like an actual food. It's not like a dipping sauce or something like that. It's
a food.
Yeah, it's an actual food.
Chorizo?
No.
Yeah, chorizo?
Nope.
A popular Hispanic appetizer?
It's something. It's. I'm trying to say it. It's another. It's in the pepper family as well.
It's in the pepper family. Jalapenos?
Jalapenos.
That's a popular Hispanic appetizer. Jalapenos.
Jalapeno.
People are just
poppers.
eating jalapenos.
Jalapeno poppers, dude.
But that's not on the pizza. It's just a jalapeno. You should have said like, oh, it's a vegetable. That would have been probably better.
Jalapeno poppers. Lewis, hang on the line. I'll get your information here in a little bit as we continue on the segment. But yes, the top 10 most popular pizza toppings: pepperoni, mushroom, onion, sausage, bacon, extra cheese, bell peppers, black olives, pineapples, and jalapenos.
The pineapple is killing me. I hate that.
Yes, I
agree
as
with
well.
one. Who eats jalapenos as an appetizer?
Like I said, the first thing I thought of was jalapeno poppers. That was the first thing I thought of. Literally the first thing I thought of.
Oh, man. Jalapenos. I've gotten multiple texts going, Frank's hint, not great. Foul.
It worked on my friends last night. My friends are also white in Tennessee. So that probably also played into whether or not I thought it would be a good hint for today.
You used that hint with your friends and they thought that was a good hint?
Well, they got it. So that's why I figured.
Jalapeno poppers is the first thing that popped in your noggin.
Was.
I tell you what I don't like on pizza, mushrooms. And everybody always goes like, well, they don't taste like anything. I don't like the slimy texture of mushrooms. That's a no. Black olives, I can't do it. My dad likes black olives. It takes over the pizza for me.
Juan.
I don't mind the bell peppers, but not super into the bell peppers.
Juan has finally figured it out. Frank, you might be neurodivergent. Oh, really? How did I get this job otherwise?
You get a foul for the whole thing.
That's fine. I'll take the foul for
He
that.
draws the foul.
I'm getting texts from multiple entities.
That's fine.
Saying
Listen,
foul. And then asked, what type of Mexican or Hispanic restaurant have you been to where they serve jalapeno poppers as an appetizer?
I don't
name me one.
Chili's.
Are you kidding me?
He draws the foul.
This guy just doesn't want to work the next two segments after forgetting Chris.
I'll eat the intentional foul for that one.
Are you kidding me? Chili's.
Hey, Jack in the Box has
It's
them
a
also.
flagrant.
Jack in the Box has them also.
Jack in the Box has jalapeno poppers and egg rolls and teriyaki bowls, and they have everything.
By the way, those of which they keep on the menu all year round. The mozzarella sticks, though, they take off. It's a limited edition item.
Oh, sorry. Are you saying
Jack
they're
in the Box-
anti-Italian? Is
Jack
that
in
what
the
you're
Box
saying?
doesn't like Italians.
Is that what we're going with this?
That's what I'm
You don't
going
think
with.
Jack likes Italians?
That's what I'm going with. Why are the mozzarella sticks the only ones that are the limited time? Why? Why is that the case? Why are they the limited edition menu item?
This sounds like you're very passionate about this
I am,
subject.
because they're so good.
I was
Jack in the
told-
Box mozzarella sticks are very, very good. They're not better than White Castle, but they are good. They're better than Arby's. And they always take them away.
Every time you bring this up, I always forget that you say that there's mozzarella sticks at White Castle. I wonder if you can get that out of the White Castle vending machine that we talked about in Boston Logan Airport.
Hopefully, if I go to Phoenix again for the race, I'll be having a bunch of them later this year.
I like Jack in the Box in the sense that they have just random food items. I mean, you just get to the munchies if that's the case. But how about this? These are things on the Jack in the Box menu. Maybe this should be your question next week. Things on the Jack in the Box menu that stick around the entire year instead of the limited edition ones. You could get, instead of Mott sticks that are seasonal, you could get French toast sticks year round.
Well, okay, you know what?
Did you just hurt your hand doing that?
I take back the slam because it's a breakfast thing. That's fine. I'll take that. I'll accept that.
That's munchies under $4, dude.
I take back the desk slam.
I like the snacks, and the snacks part of the deal is great. They got Reaper mozzarella sticks now. That should be some type of...
That should be limited edition.
They already have the partnership with the Padres and the giant jack antenna ball on the right field foul pole. Why aren't they doing some type of Mason Miller close? You get free Reaper sticks. What are we doing? They're down the street. Their headquarters are down the street.
That's a foul on Jack in the Box for not thinking
I agree.
of that. Guys, marketing. Hello.
I know they've been remodeling their building down the street over here in Kearney Mesa or whatever it is. We got to go down there, knock on the door, and be like, what are we doing here? Slap some cheese on it. They got Reaper sticks. Yeah, where's your little thing? Where's your mallet?
There's two of them.
Really?
We got two gavels here.
Let me ask you this. What type of cheese you putting in your jalapeno poppers, or stuffed jalapenos, as Jack in the Box calls them?
Mozzarella cheese?
Mozzarella cheese?
Why not?
Mozzarella cheese?
It's like a double. You get the mozzarella stick and you get the jalapeno.
I don't think
popper.
I've ever seen anybody stuff mozzarella cheese in a jalapeno popper.
I don't get them, so it doesn't matter to me.
Mozzarella cheese?
Why not? It's the best of both worlds.
I mean, I've seen cream cheese.
I don't get them, so I don't know, man.
Mozzarella cheese?
That's what I would do again.
That's another
it's
foul.
The best of, that's fine. I'll accept it.
The best of both worlds.
I'll accept it. I don't get them, so I will admit pure ignorance. I will admit ignorance.
That was not the first answer I thought you would give. I thought you'd give something else. I mean, I've heard of he has lost his mind.
I don't get them, so I don't know. But again, I do know that there are rules. I know that there are rules to food, and once I learn them, I abide by them.
I mean, there's so many different cheeses you can use. But, to me, Jack cheese would have worked. Cream cheese works.
Okay.
Oaxaca cheese probably works. I mean, that's probably a lot of the cheeses that should probably work. Mozzarella?
Ignorance. Pleading pure ignorance. Dino nuggets only. You know what? Fine.
Unbelievable. That's a fantastic appetizer. Jalapeno with mozzarella. Let the man cook. We should not let Frank cook. At this point, do not let him into the kitchen.
No, I can cook. I can cook. I cook what I like, and I cook it well.
I don't even want to ask you what you would put in an egg roll at this point.
No, I'm not gonna cook an egg roll because I don't eat them.
No, so what would you put in an egg roll?
Well,
you're going to put mozzarella cheese in a jalapeno popper?
No, I would genuinely look up. If I'm making genuine egg rolls, I would look up what's in them and make it traditionally.
I just like the fact that your hint for jalapeno was a Mexican or Hispanic food appetizer, and then you thought of jalapeno poppers.
I did.
And then you said you stuffed them with mozzarella cheese because there's nothing like Hispanic cuisine like mozzarella cheese in a jalapeno deep fried.
Yes.
As crazy as that sounds, we might have to give this a try. I'm intrigued. You know, the chef reaction guy that does the videos. Most of the time, he'll just rip the person a new, what, and then he goes I'd try it.
Yeah, and then try it and be
I'd try it.
You know what? It's disgusting. It's sacrilege. Fair.
SD Mike is now looking it up. Tons of recipes for mozzarella jalapeno poppers online. Can't find restaurants that actually make them, though. They're going to start calling you Will Myers, dude. I'm going to tell you right now. They're going to start calling you Will Myers for the...
Frank doesn't like authentic Mexican food, says Juan in the chat. Frank does not like authentic Mexican food, despite living in San Diego and being a stone's throw away from Mexico. Listen, it is one of my many failings. I'm going to psychiatrist partly for it. I know I have a mental block when it comes to trying new food. I am a picky eater, and I feel as though it comes from me learning that I'm allergic to peanuts at a young age. So I just got used to saying, no, I'm good. I don't want to try it. So I know it is a mental block. I know it is a major failing of mine, but I am a very, very picky eater.
There's a segment to be made out of this.
There is, yes.
Frank tries food.
Oh, no.
Food that he might actually like. We're not going to make him try, like, nasty stuff. I mean, come on.
That's fine. As long as you guys aren't making me eat, like...
And you don't have to eat the whole thing. You just got to try
crickets.
Pickled crickets?
I'm just saying, like,
I am not letting your mind
nonsensical.
wander. Could you imagine if Frank was in charge of, like, the eating at, like, a Survivor challenge? Pickled crickets?
No, I was using that as some erroneous example.
Erroneous. Tricky T is on it, though. Replace the hot dog with mozzarella. What do you put on your Oreos? Mozzarella. What do you stuff your Oreos with? Mozzarella.
Cream. Marshmallow.
Unbelievable. Well, I'm hungry now, just not for mozzarella stuffed jalapenos. Maybe for something else. Reaper mozzarella sticks.
That is, yeah. Jack in the Box, get on that one. And yes, we do want royalties for it.
Oh, for like the Mason Miller gets a save or something like that?
We do want the royalties
Free
for
Reaper
that one.
sticks. That'd be sick. What do you stuff your casings with? We'll go to break on that. 833-288-0973. 833-288-0973. Juan's always got a heater in the YouTube chat when we give him an opportunity. Aztec football schedule came out. We'll talk about it when we come back. San Diego State baseball may not have won the Mountain West Tournament Championship, but the Aztecs absolutely proved they might be back in baseball. San Diego State reached the title round after multiple unbelievable comeback wins, including rallying from down 5-0 against New Mexico and down 8-1 against Air Force. This team just refuses to quit. Jake Jackson continued his monster season as Mountain West Player of the Year. Kevin Vance won Coach of the Year in the Mountain West in his first season, and the Aztecs finished with their best record since 2018. And remember, this team was picked 7th in the preseason poll. So was this just one magical season or the beginning of a new era for San Diego State baseball? San Diego State Aztec baseball made a postseason statement. They may not have won the Mountain West Tournament Championship, but Aztecs absolutely showed why they were the best team in the conference throughout the 2026 season. Aztecs wrapped up an impressive postseason run by reaching the tournament championship round after surviving multiple comeback wins, explosive offensive performances, and one of the most resilient stretches of baseball this program has played in years. The Aztecs ultimately fell to Washington State in the title game, but this weekend still felt like confirmation that San Diego State baseball is officially back among the elite programs in the Mountain West. And considering this was Kevin Vance's first season as the head coach, this might be the biggest storyline of all. Comeback baseball had defined the Aztecs season. The theme of the tournament for the Aztecs was simple. This team refused to quit. In their opener against New Mexico, the Aztecs found themselves trailing 5-0 before erupting for 10 unanswered runs to win 11-6. That comeback completely changed the tone of the tournament. Zane Kelly sparked the rally with a massive 3-run double. Adam Magpok launched a 2-run homer, and Tice Peterson followed with a go-ahead blast that gave the Aztecs control for good. The offense showed exactly what has made this team dangerous all year: power, patience, and the ability to score in bunches. And once San Diego State grabbed the lead, their bullpen slammed the door shut. The tournament turning point for the Aztecs of the weekend was Saturday because it became one of the wildest days of the season. First, San Diego State jumped out to a 5-0 lead against the Cougs before completely losing momentum in a 14-9 loss that dropped them into an elimination game. At that point, it would have been easy for the tournament to spiral out of control for San Diego State, but instead, they responded with arguably their toughest win of the year. They were down 8-1 against Air Force and exploded for 10 unanswered runs to win 11-8 and keep the season alive. And that game showed the personality of this team. Jabin Trotsky crushed a 3-run homer to ignite the comeback. Jake Jackson delivered clutch extra base hits late, and the bullpen stabilized things through things long enough for the offense to completely flip the game. That's championship level fight. Even though the final trophy didn't end up on the Mesa. On Championship Sunday, they were 1 win away. Sunday was a roller coaster. They forced a winner-take-all final by beating Washington State 9-2 earlier in the day behind dominant pitching and timely hitting. Drew Talavs was outstanding on the mound, while San Diego State's lineup once again delivered situational offense when it mattered most. But in the final game of the tournament, the pitching depth finally ran out. Washington State exploded late for 11 unanswered runs in a 14-4 win that ended San Diego State's postseason hopes. Even in the loss, though, there were a lot of bright spots. Jake Jackson, Tice Peterson both homered, and Jackson continued one of the hottest stretches of baseball in the conference with a 12-game hitting streak and reaching base safely in 25 consecutive starts. In terms of individual honors, the postseason validated what the conference coaches already decided before the tournament even started. Jake Jackson was named Mountain West Player of the Year after becoming an emotional and offensive engine for this team. Kevin Vance earned Mountain West Coach of the Year honors in his first season, which is remarkable considering San Diego State was picked 7th in the preseason poll, and that turnaround cannot be overstated. San Diego State was a middle of the pack projection to outright regular season champions while posting their best win total since 2018. And it wasn't just one star carrying the group. Rowan Leto emerged as a frontline ace. Jabin Trotsky became one of the conference's most reliable hitters and defenders. Max Farrell turned into one of the league's top freshmen, and Tice Peterson delivered power all season long. This was a complete team, just fell one game short. The program's starting to feel relevant again. The season feels significant beyond just wins and losses. For the first time in several years, San Diego State baseball felt interesting again. Offense had personality, the bullpen had toughness, the lineup had clutch hitters, and the program had energy. Now the challenge becomes sustainability. Can Kevin Vance turn this one-year breakthrough into the new standard for Aztec baseball moving forward? Because if this season was the foundation, the expectations just changed dramatically. $123 on a Friday. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant. It's the Braden Surprenant Show. San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3. The Fan. What do you put in your jalapeno poppers?
Isn't it, though?
Fresh Mott's.
Hey,
Go down to Mona Lisa's, get some fresh mozzarella. Throw out some jalapenos. Wrap it in bacon. Wow, now we're cooking. Barbecues with Frank. New segment on the horizon. 833-288-973. 833-288-973. San Diego State got their football schedule with times. We're going to get to that in a second. Do want to get back to your phone calls, though. Let's get out to Ron in La Mesa. What's going on, Ron?
Hey, guys, I just thought I'd call in and rescue all mozzarella cheese radio. My God, this is insane. But I'm going to have to actually take Frank's side on this one, man. When I moved out here in 91 from Kansas, all we had out there was Tex-Mex. And Braden, you know what that is. But I didn't know I had to learn the Spanish language to order Mexican food when I came to San Diego. It took me probably 2 years to understand that. But, Frank, once you do understand it, you don't go back. All the San Diego Mexican food, Tex-Mex, I can't even stomach it. So there you go, Frank. I'm on your side for once. Mark it down because it won't happen again. See you guys.
Thanks, Ron. It was nice seeing you on Wednesday.
Mark it down. Record it. That's like, take a picture. It'll last longer. Mark it down. It'll never happen again. Wow.
Mark it down. Take a picture. Mail it to him.
Juan in the YouTube chat killing me. Racket. Aztecs got their football schedule with dates and time. Well, with times, there's a couple of games that do not have times yet, and they also still don't have an opponent for Saturday, November 28th, of course, because that will be the flex opponent at the end of the season. They're starting their Pac-12 campaign. Aztecs football is in the fall. They have 10 of its regular season games airing on national television in its first year of the Pac-12 conference. The league announced Wednesday. Additionally, all 10 games have kickoff times, and for the first time since 2012, every regular season game will be played on a Saturday. That's all great news. I love all of that. I love all of that for the Aztecs. I like the move to the Pac-12 as long as they understand what it really is.
Power Act.
You're close to fouling out, dude. Let's be careful with the things you say.
It's in the description of the YouTube. It's the Power Act 12. We all know this.
10 games. P is for power.
Yes.
It's a power conference. But they're not playing any Friday games. Fantastic. They have game times for every single game except for the game on September 26th at Toledo. And then, of course, their flex game in November, in the last week of November, last week of the year. They also have every game on national television, or 10 of their games on national television. They have one game on the Big Ten Network. That's when they go to the Rose Bowl to take on UCLA. And then they have a couple of games on CBS Sports Network. But they open the season with Portland State, 6:30 at Snapdragon Stadium on USA Network. They will go to the Rose Bowl and take on UCLA at 4:15 on September 12th. They'll play on the Big Ten Network. September 19th, James Madison, who was in the college football playoff last year, comes to town. That game will be at 7 o'clock in the CW. They'll go to Toledo on September 26th. In the month of October, it's when they'll start their Pac-12 play with longtime Pac-12 opponent Texas State.
That's interesting. Not the Texas State gimmick, but they're pretty much home road all season, except for the bye week on November 7th kind of messes that up.
Yeah, because they have a bye. And but then they have to finish the season with two road
then
games.
it's home. It's home by home, road. So that's interesting how that worked out for them.
What I don't understand about the the flex game schedule is they had when they released the schedule, what the flex could potentially be. It was a lot of they have to have a road flex and they have to have a home flex. Well, if you have to have a road flex or a home flex, how it works out in the schedule, that means you can only play 4 opponents in that particular week. Yeah. So I find that to be interesting as they head into what would be the Pac-12 championship on December 4th. All right, October, they play Texas State at home. 7:30 start on the CW. They go to Oregon State on October 10th. It'll be a 3 o'clock start. They play Fresno State at home. I'm sorry, the team up north. My fault. Foul on me on that. That's my fault.
He draws the foul. Yeah, they even put it on the graphic that it's the.
As you know what, if they're gonna fully embrace that as being a thing, and I'm glad that Sean Lewis did, it brings some type of rivalry. It brings some juice to that rivalry. Then they should do it on everything. I don't mind that. But then on their website, they had Fresno State listed. They should just put team up north. 7:30 on October 17th. That's a home game. They'll go to Fort Collins to take on Colorado State. Another 7:30 start. That game will be on the CW. Halloween, they are hosting Washington State. 4 o'clock kick. That's pretty good for trick-or-treaters and stuff.
Yeah, that ain't bad.
You're going to have probably a lot of people leave around 6 o'clock. 6:30, but at least it's not a 7:30 start on Halloween.
Oops.
On a Saturday night. That game will be on the CBS Sports Network. Their bye will be on November 7th, and then in November they got Utah State at Boise State, which will be on USA, as well as the Utah State game. Flex opponent November 28th, and a Pac-12 championship game potentially on December 4th. So,
which is a Friday.
Which would be the Friday. That's a 5 o'clock kick on CBS. So a couple of things with the schedule. I love the fact that you can get this all on national television.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these games are over the air, right? With the CW conversation. You have a couple of obviously on cable, but you don't have to pay for streaming services to watch any of these games, which is great for the Aztecs. All their kick times have been established. They don't play on Fridays, and they have some pretty good times. And in terms of playing at Snapdragon Stadium, you got night game, late afternoon, night game, all night games, and 4 o'clock start. You like that too? I don't have to listen to anybody bitch about how hot it is.
Yeah, you do. That mid-afternoon game is going to be tough.
On Halloween?
Yeah.
On Halloween at 4 o'clock?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? We scorcher.
Yeah,
we need shade. That point of the year at that, I mean, like half the stadium's covered in shade by the time the ball kicks off anyway. We need shade.
Tisk.
Enough of the shade conversation. You know, it's going to be a little bit hot, maybe at UCLA on September 12th at 4:15 when they have no shade at the Rose Bowl.
Yeah,
nobody cares about shade at the Rose Bowl.
Different though.
Why is that different?
It's not here.
We are the only place that has hot temperatures.
No, we don't have to go to it all the time.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's
right.
the difference.
It's a lot hotter here than it is in Texas. That also doesn't have shade for their stadiums. They play at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, but
they're not playing. Texas State's playing here, so it don't matter. Don't matter.
You go to Neyland Stadium in October and tell me about whether or not
that's in Tennessee. That's not here.
It's not here where anything over 72 degrees is a scorcher outside.
No, it's not. No, we have to deal with it here. We don't have to deal with it in Tennessee.
I really don't hear them complain about the shade.
Well, that's on them then. We're here. We have to deal with it. Stadium's here. I rest my case.
It's not really too many legs to stand. Yeah, okay. Not a lot of legs to stand on with that kid. Did you break that? No. It sounded like it snapped.
Well, no, it can. Like I can take the head of it off, but
don't have to worry about the shade thing. Big Ten Frank is back. I like the fact that they're on national television. I like the schedule. I mean, it'll be fun for the first year of the Pac-12. Whatever that means. I think San Diego State's gonna have a good year. And in football. No Friday nights is great too. Now they can recruit all the local kids. It's awesome.
There you go.
Because they won't be playing at the same time.
If you thought Big Ten corporate Frank was annoying, wait until you see Power Act 12 corporate Frank during the season.
Oh my God.
If I get an opportunity to walk out on that field at some point pregame, you better believe.
Well, I already have to hear it from like two of my friends. One of the Washington State.
You better believe that there will be a piece of paper on that field that I will put over the Pac-12 logo that makes it Power Act 12.
I will say this. I think, let me know if you think this is the same.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm asking the wrong guy because he's already confirmed that he's going to be the mouthpiece of the Power Act 12. I already have to deal with two mouthpieces of the Power Act 12 in a group text with a couple of Aztecs and a Washington State Cougar about bragging about how their games are on national television.
Well, they are.
And how no other conference has all their games on national television, and they're flexing the CW.
Well,
and it's just okay.
The Big Ten network isn't necessarily national television.
Putting out a graphic about all the games being on linear television is some little brother action right there.
Listen, man, I don't need.
You know what I have to do? I have to
spend...
pit your Pac-12 sellout Frank against Big Ten corporate Frank and see what plays out.
I don't need to spend $40 on ESPN Plus to watch my team play. I don't need to do that. I do need to do that if I'm a Mississippi State fan.
You have to do that for the Big Ten. You got to pay for Peacock.
Peacock's $7.
Peacock
is $7 with ads. It's fine.
With ads. $7 with ads.
$7 a month with ads. You got there's a bunch of other great things on there.
This is not you're going to talk yourself in a circle trying to represent the Pac-12 and the Big Ten at the same time.
It's not $40. I can tell you that much.
I don't think I pay $40 for ESPN Plus. We're talking about ESPN Plus. I mean, the ESPN pack. Yeah, that's for people that don't already pay for ESPN.
I mean, there are other packages, but still, I mean, even ESPN Plus, the basic ESPN Plus is still double what Peacock is.
Go Aztecs. Don't make me start talking my S. I will. I will feast on the S talk. Where's Nick DiNucci? Talk your S. You know what? I am going to talk my S. What is 0-7? What does 0-7 mean to you? Go Aztecs. 0-7.
It means Owen's probably 7 years old.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's the case. Never beaten the Frogs in football. Don't think they ever will. I don't think they'll ever play at this point. But you know what? We'll take it. Moving on. Let's not talk about basketball. 833-288-0973, 833-288-0973. When we come back, we have the government getting involved with college football and a preview of Padres and Nationals still to come. Braden Surprenant Show, San Diego Sports Station, 97 through the Fan.
This week in motorsports was defined by one of the most devastating headlines: the loss of NASCAR legend Kyle Busch at just 41 years of age. Busch was a two-time Cup Series champion and one of the most dominant drivers in NASCAR history, with over 60 Cup Series wins, more than 100 O'Reilly Series victories, and 69 truck victories, the last of which he got just 2 weeks ago at Dover. His impact on the sport was massive, and the entire racing world came together at Charlotte Motor Speedway to honor him. On the track, Daniel Suarez delivered an emotional Coca-Cola 600 win, dedicating the victory to Busch after a rain-shortened finish. Meanwhile, Lane Riggs and Ross Chastain also won emotional tribute-filled races for the Truck and O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Over at IndyCar, though, Felix Rosenqvist won the Indianapolis 500 in a photo finish, and in F1, Kimi Antonelli continued his breakout season with another dominant victory in Canada. So now, question is, are we watching the end of one era in motorsports and the rise of a new generation taking over? This week in motorsports has been dominated by one of the most devastating headlines that has shaken the entirety of the racing world. Kyle Busch, two-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, and one of the most successful drivers in the history of the sport, passed away at the age of 41 following complications from severe pneumonia that progressed into sepsis. Busch's passing sent shockwaves through the NASCAR garage and through fans all around the world. Known as Rowdy, he built his career defined by aggression, brilliance, and record-breaking success across all three of NASCAR's National Series. His legacy is staggering: 63 Cup Series wins, 102 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series victories, and 69 Craftsman Truck Series wins. That number places him at 234 all-time wins across all three NASCAR National Series, which is the most in NASCAR history. His 102 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series wins and 69 Truck Series wins puts him in the number one position in those two series by themselves. But beyond his stats, Busch was a central figure in modern NASCAR culture, a polarizing competitor, a generational talent, and a driver who helped shape the sport over the last 2 decades. This weekend's Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte became an emotional tribute to his life, career, and impact on the sport. So with that, the sad stuff out of the way, time to get racing. This weekend was not only marred by the passing of Kyle Busch, it was also marred by a ton of rain. The NASCAR Cup Series at Charlotte Motor Speedway turned into a race filled with emotion, strategy, rain, and of course tribute. Daniel Suarez claimed a heartfelt and meaningful victory in a rain-shortened Coca-Cola 600, a win that carried far deeper meaning than just the trophy. Suarez dedicated his win to Kyle Busch, crediting him as a major influence on his career and development in NASCAR. The entire weekend carried this emotional tone, with Busch's family present and honored before the race. On track, it was a chaotic 600 miles. Long run, strategy calls, tire management, and late rain ultimately deciding the outcome. Suarez made a critical pit call late in the race that vaulted him into position. And once the rain returned, the race was called early, about 27 laps early, locking in his victory. Behind him, Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin finished second and third, while pole sitter Tyler Reddick led a race-high number of laps, but could not close it out. The O'Reilly Auto Parts Series, also pure chaos and pure survival, racing against the rain. Ross Chastain claimed a rain-shortened victory in chaotic and slippery conditions that saw multiple incidents and long delays. Chastain's win was emotional as well, as he referenced Bush's impact on the sport and influence on young drivers to climb the ladder. Justin Allgaier once again showed championship consistency, while young drivers like Corey Day continued to gain valuable experience in chaotic conditions. On Sunday morning, the Truck Series race was held. Now, the Truck Series race was supposed to be on Friday night. It was postponed from Friday night to Saturday morning, postponed from Saturday morning to Saturday night, and then eventually run on Sunday morning, where Lane Riggs won the race. Riggs dedicated, of course, his victory to Kyle Busch, performing Busch's signature bow in tribute after taking the checkered flag. This race was also rain affected, caution heavy, but Riggs controlled key restarts and held on in the closing laps. And it wasn't just a win. Of course, it was a tribute to all of from all of the drivers to the RCR number 8, now number 33 team. In IndyCar, the 110th Indianapolis 500 delivered one of the greatest and the closest finish in the race's history. Felix Rosenqvist edged out
San Diego's number one sports station, 97.3, The Fan. Frank's got to hang in there for, like 2 segments or something? Is that what you got to do?
Yeah, it's the first 2 seconds. It's no big deal, really. When I was working for CBS Sports Radio, well, the Infinity Sports Network now.
Which is not even, is that even a thing anymore?
Which, yeah, what is it?
Is it Westwood One Sport? I don't know.
Whatever. The
national guys.
The national guys in New York.
Yeah.
When I was working with them, especially on weekend overnights, it was 2 shows. So, I mean, doing an extra 2 segments when I used to do 8 hours of production work really doesn't matter.
I mean, Sammy Lev's walking around. Why can't he just do it?
Sammy Lev barely knows what's going on over there. If I tried to show him what goes on this side, he probably would. His head would probably explode.
I bet you can make a mean TikTok though.
He'd be doing what he's doing now, which is licking the glass.
Stop it! He's not doing it this time. Stop trying to slander Sammy Lev.
He just had his face up against the glass. Did you not see that?
No.
He just had his face up against the glass.
You sound like the guy from The Incredibles.
Oh,
showing the video and Dash like
right there.
Right there. Coincidence? I think not. That's what you sound like right now.
He'd be. I mean, that's.
You should throw the pen at. I agree with Go Aztecs in the YouTube
Well,
chat.
he's sitting down now.
I'm just saying. You know, shout out Sammy Lev for showing me that you can download Backyard Baseball to your phone.
I could have told you that, but yeah, good on him.
I didn't know it was available in app form.
Yes,
and a lot of those are usually like fake.
No.
This one is legit. It's like the 2001 one. I got, it's hilarious. Love playing that game.
It's fantastic.
I was in a dogfight with the Red Hornets the other day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was down 4-0. Came back though.
Oh, no.
Handled them.
Who's your go-to pitcher?
I go with Randy Johnson.
Okay.
I play with the pros, dude.
I was thinking more of the backyard kids, but
oh no, I only draft one backyard kid on my team.
Please tell me.
I only draft one backyard baseball kid on my team.
Tell me who it is.
You can guess. I have all pros and one backyard baseball kid.
If it's not Pablo Sanchez,
it's Pablo,
you're wrong.
of course it's Pablo Sanchez.
I was going to say, if it's not Pablo
He's basically
Sanchez,
a pro
you're wrong.
himself. My team right now, I got Pudge Rodriguez behind the plate.
Okay.
I made the mistake. I forgot if he was that good or not, but I Mark McGuire's at first.
Okay.
I got Pablo Sanchez plays second. I got Derek Jeter at short. I got A-Rod at third. In the outfield, it's a little slow of an outfield in the corners, but I got Sammy Sosa in left. I got Tony Gwynn in right. I got Kenny Lofton, Roman center.
Really?
And Randy Johnson is my pitcher. Yeah, there you go. There's my backyard baseball Padres on my phone.
Attaboy. See, now
I'm sure they have the other sports on there too somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You can download backyard football and stuff.
Yeah.
Sammy told me that he got a full season done in spring training.
That's
playing on his phone. You wonder what he does in Pedro Gutierrez's box in the
press area,
in the press area. He's probably just playing backyard baseball.
Yeah, probably.
No salary cap in that game.
No, of course. Pablo Sanchez is a must every single time. I go with Pete Wheeler. He's got that speed.
That's why I have Kenny Lofton. It's fast.
Yeah, Pete Wheeler for me, and then if I don't go with a professional pitcher, if it's not Randy Johnson, I'll usually go with Angela Del Vecchio because she could pitch like
Angela
crazy.
Del Vecchio.
She can pitch. She can't run worth of nothing, and every now and again she'll hit a home run. But yeah, she can pitch.
What the heck? Oh yeah, you could play the old game on. Oh yeah, they got it on PlayStation stuff now too. You said that right? They like redid them all. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I was trying to find the roster.
They're all the original games too. So like the original
It's
backyard
about
soccer's
time.
in there. Backyard basketball's there. I believe backyard hockey's there.
They remastered it in 2024.
Yeah, the original backyard baseball from '97 and the 2001 backyard baseball are available. Also, backyard football's there too.
I had backyard soccer.
So did I.
I had backyard football. Yeah. I had backyard baseball, and then I can't remember. I never had hockey.
Hockey wasn't really that good
in 2002.
It was okay.
I can't remember if I had backyard basketball or not. Oh, you know what I did? I did
Lisa
have
Leslie and Kevin Garnett were the pros.
I did have backyard basketball. Yeah, Tim Duncan was on the cover of it.
Oh, it might have been a later one. I had the original with Lisa Leslie and Kevin Garnett. Those are the only two pros.
I think they only made one. Are you sure about that? I thought they had more than two pros.
I only remember Leslie and Garnett.
It says 2001 is when it came out. Yeah.
Unless you mistook Tim Duncan for Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, because did Kevin Garnett play for the Spurs and wear number 21?
Oh no, he did not.
Yeah.
Well, excuse me.
Yeah, that was I think the OG. There was two of them. They had the one in 2004 had Tim Duncan on it.
Okay, yeah, no, I had the original. I had the
original one too with Lisa. I think I remember correctly now with Kevin Garnett and Lisa Leslie, as you mentioned. I thought they had more than those two. I thought they had, but soccer had like all of the women's soccer Olympic players.
They had two soccer ones also. They had
I had the original.
Yep, I had the
one.
original one. They didn't have any pros, but the second one had just like backyard baseball. They had the original, a pro from every team.
I remember them having the pros in that game. I can't. There was.
Yeah, they had one for 98, and then they had another one for.
I had the one that had the. I had the MLS edition.
Yeah, that one.
That was the one with like Kobe Jones or whatever was on the cover, and Mia Hamm or Brandy Chastain and Kobe Jones. It was back when they had, because you could be all the MLS teams, which was fun. That one was cool too because you could keep working your way up.
Yep. Yeah.
You get relegated and promoted and stuff like that. It was pretty cool.
Yep. I had the original.
We don't have too much time to talk about the Pro College Sports Act or whatever it is. We'll talk about that next week. But essentially, this is what the government's trying to get involved here to try to help the NCAA out. The core elements of the bill to give the NCAA limited antitrust protection, which obviously means their rules would hold up in the court of law. They want to put in an NIL and salary cap system, which sounds great. They want to put in a crackdown on fake NIL. Salary cap enforcement could reduce athlete pay, obviously. They also want to change the rules to the transfer portal, eligibility changes, 5-year eligibility window. And then they said that the bill does not shut the door on athletes eventually becoming employees, which is also interesting. What Congress is doing, I guess, is trying to prevent a super league between the SEC and the Big Ten. They want to have pooling media rights. I mean, essentially, they're putting in all the rules that the NCAA should have had from the get-go, and they're putting in everything that almost like Major League Baseball is trying to put in right now with the salary cap. They're just trying to make it an even playing field for the teams.
Mm-hmm.
And what hurts the players, of course, is you can't make as limited money as possible. Whatever. Everybody needs to look out for themselves, and I'm looking out for myself.
Which comes down to the question of, if you're a college athlete, aren't you going to college for education?
Yeah, shouldn't you be going to college?
Yeah,
shouldn't you be going to college to get an education and then, I don't know, use that to make more money?
Yeah, I didn't realize that college was a financially beneficial endeavor for you.
It is for certain.
people, I guess, that are really good at sports. Anyway, we'll talk more about that next week. Tonight, really this afternoon. I mean, it's in a matter of 2 hours. We got Padres and Nationals coming up. Padres will send Lucas Giolito to the mound. He's 2-0 with a 2.70 ERA. Paxton Schultz will go for the the cap of the Nationals. He's 0-2 with a 5.30 ERA. Starting lineup for the Padres today.
Oh, we do have it?
Yeah, we have. We've had it for an hour now.
Oh, you didn't? I didn't see it.
Starting at second base, leading off, Fernando Tatis Jr. Batting second in left field, Gavin Sheets. Xander Bogaerts batting the 3 spot today. He plays shortstop. Manny Machado bats fourth. He plays third base. Jackson Merrill plays center field. Bats fifth. Miguel Andujar, the DH, batting sixth. Ramon Laureano bats seventh, plays right field. Ty France bats eighth and plays first base. And Freddie Fermin, the catcher today, bats ninth. A little bit of a changeup again in the lineup today. We'll see how the Padres do. What is our bold prediction for the day today or the weekend? You can pick between the two. I don't care.
Bold prediction. I'll do a bold prediction for the weekend. I think the Padres will combine for 20 or more hits over the course of the weekend.
You think what?
The Padres will combine for 20 or more hits over the weekend. So
Okay.
their hit total between the 3 games will be 20 or more.
I mean, that's almost like 7 hits a game.
Which is we've seen, it's not really all that doable for this team.
Well, you're right. We got the Tatis thing every single day. I like the Padres. It's hard. That'd be kind of bold. I feel like the Padres are going to win one laugher this weekend, which I think is kind of vague. I'm going to say
well, what's the run differential in a laugher?
+8.
That's something they have not done this year.
I think they beat the Nationals one game this weekend in a laugher. Because the pitching staff for the Washington's not good. I could see the Padres getting hot a little bit over the weekend. I think they're going to. I'll say this: I think they win a game and they score at least 8 runs in one of those games.
Okay.
And hopefully the pitching shuts some people down. But they haven't really. Have they had a laugher at all? I don't think they've had any laugher. You mentioned they hadn't won by at least 8 runs. I don't think they've had a laugher this year.
No, they haven't.
I can look it up real quick.
They've had a
could be
ton
blanking
of
on
close games.
Yeah, they've had too many close games throughout the year. It's gonna hurt the bullpen a little bit. But
I cannot picture them having won a game by more than 4, let alone double that.
Right. Let's see if the wins. They won 7-3, 5-2, 7-6. They beat the Giants 7-1. Is that considered a laugher?
6. I mean, there's no real
10-8, 7-2, 9-5, 8-2, 8-2, 6. I mean, I think they're just kind of pushing it. It's not that close. 10-5 over the Giants. I think they win in a laugher. I think they win by more than 6 runs.
More than 6. Okay.
That's what we'll do. More than 6, because they haven't beat anybody by more than 6 runs all year. I think they win by, at least one game by more than 6 runs. He's Frank Marchese. I'm Braden Surprenant signing off. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. Frank will be around for a couple of segments here with Gwen and Chris. Talk to you guys on Monday.
Padres Nationals today.
A season high 11 strikeouts for Michael